everybody. Welcome to Campus Comics Cast, coming to you from Carbondale, Illinois, with special guests from the Campus Comics crew. And now, here's your host, the man with the previews in hand, Mike No.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Campus Comics Cast, coming to you from 821B East Main Street.
816B.
What'd I say, 821?
Yeah,
816. 821 is the old location, isn't it? Oh, man, it was 821 South Illinois.
Do you want to start over? I can cut it right here.
I don't know. I feel like leaving me and being dumb and out of date is kind of it's on brand. I said 821. I can still tell you the name of the store's account number with Diamond. Like, I won't say it on the air, but I do. Mike told me when I was putting in orders one time, he was like, we're account number. And I said, you say it like I don't know. And it turns out, like, I shouldn't know. I haven't needed that information for God knows how long. My grandma's birthday is probably not in my brain, but the store's account number is. Anyway, from 816B East Main Street, here in the shop. We do not have Mike with us today. He had some stuff to do at the close of business, so he popped out. So it is me, Matt Martin, along with
Scott Reed
and Dan Brown.
All right. So we are doing the monthly previews review, and we actually have a little bit of point of contention on when these are due. The catalog says August 18th, but as Mike is not here to verify that for us, we think that is the conservative estimate that previews gives, Diamond gives folks to get your orders in with plenty of time for your retailer. I think it's probably the following, like,
I would think
Thursday.
So.
Yeah. I feel like Mike's going to tell me that the order is due because
last Thursday of the month or something like that.
The 18th is a Sunday, which feels odd. Yeah. So it's, I assume, a few days after that, but probably early mid-20s of August. Let's say.
A good rule of thumb though is the earlier the better.
Yes.
You get us what you want, we can. There's a better chance you get it.
Exactly what I was going to say.
So just roll with that.
As Matt is the person putting these things in, I'll tell you what Matt doesn't like. It's getting Facebook messages at midnight that say, hey, can you order these things for me? Because it usually means I have to kind of go back through. So we're going to do the same routine we always do. We're going to start with DC, then go to the Marvel previews, and then do the big book. And that is it. And if we have little notes at the end, we will see. And I'm sure Scott will tell us all the blanks and everything else, right?
Yep. I'll give it a shot anyway.
Okay. And as always, if you pick up your own previews, feel free to check these things out and let us know if there's anything that we missed that you think is really notable. Comment on the Facebook page or in the talkback on the podcast too. All right,
well,
let's
start with the cover.
First off,
yeah.
DC's gotten so crazy with the variants that now their previews catalog has variants. What cover did everybody get?
I got Joker Harley, and I didn't know there were variant covers.
I got Birds of Prey too.
I didn't know until Scott said something when we were pulling books before this, and I thought, what is he talking about? And I still didn't get it until we sat down, and I was like, oh, yeah. I have a different previews than you do. I thought I had somehow gotten the wrong one for a minute.
So for the completist, there are 2 copies.
When I first saw it, I thought they were still just doing the flip covers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, nope.
Is the back cover the same on both? I didn't even check.
Yeah,
Okay, same
so.
back cover.
Oh, nope.
Okay. Oh, no.
Different back covers.
Wow.
You guys got the family-friendly basket full of heads.
Right.
Yeah. And I got Year of the Villain.
Okay.
All right, let's roll. And speaking of, do we want to do Dan, do you normally do the stuff that's in the beginning previews, or we talk about that when we get... screw it.
On to DC. We go to the big book. We go to the big book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember if we did a little intro on that or not.
No.
So, I feel like we haven't done this in forever, and without having Mike here, all of a sudden it's like a rudderless ship.
Right.
Page 1?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, page 1.
Hill House.
DC's cutting back on imprints, so that's why they're starting a new one with Joe Hill.
I told Scott before you came in, I said it to myself when I was tagging these, and by the time I was done, I had thought it in my head so many times, it's going to be my meme of the episode. Vertigo died for this.
Yeah.
Now, this is just Black Label, though, isn't it?
No,
no?
It's
okay.
No,
it
is. Hill House is an imprint, but it is through Black Label.
Right, it's an imprint of an imprint.
Exactly.
But
yes, this 6 months ago, this would have been a Vertigo thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably,
yeah. And I have to say, like, me complaining, I'm not going to not buy these. These all sound awesome. And I love Joe Hill. So if you don't know, which I'm sure most people probably do, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. And he writes very much in the vein of his father. And Basket Full of Heads is such a fantastic, evocative title for a horror book. And it's a miniseries. I think they're all miniseries too. And if you've noticed, they all have a backup story that all ties together. A backup story called Sea Dogs that's about werewolves in the Revolutionary War, which sounds so awesomely stoned that I really want to check that out too. So
is Basket Full of Heads the only one that's listed?
It's the only one that's come out so far.
All right.
The page before that shows you Dollhouse Family starts in November, The Low Woods is in December, Daphne Byrne in January, and Plunge in February.
Okay.
Yeah, and our favorite artist TBD is working on Plunge. So that should
He
be
gets so much work.
Yeah, it should be a pretty strong book.
Hey, Kelly Jones on
I just
Daphne
saw that.
Byrne.
Yeah.
I guess that's John Byrne's daughter. Is that how that works?
Well, I hope she's not as mean as her dad. But let's be honest, it's a horror book. She might be.
So after that, we've got this month's Year of the Villain obligatory pages. What I thought was interesting is they have announced these acetate covers they're going to do that are released in November, but we have to order them now. So it's probably a longer turnaround time as far as production goes on those. So
And it makes the previews really weird because it feels like deja vu because you see like Batman and Batman, and then 50 pages later, here's another Batman, and I thought that when I was going through, I thought, wait, weren't there already 2 issues of this and this and this? And I realized they're all the variant covers.
Yeah, but again, if you you have your heart set on one of these, let us know ahead of time because it's probably going to be an issue where we can't reorder these. Yep. They'll probably print these to the demand.
That is what I was going to ask you. If you saw, I don't remember if it was Didio or somebody else, but somebody from DC basically said we already expect these to be exactly like the 3D covers were back in New 52.
Right.
That they're going to get printed once. People are going to underorder them. Yeah. You're going to have angry fans who are like, what do you mean I can't get that one? So I know we say this a million times. If it's important to you that you have one specific thing, for goodness sake, please tell somebody at the shop that you really, really want that one because these are a little bit pricier and Mike's probably not going to just go hard on them on a whim.
If you see something, say something. After that, we've
Dan's
got
always reporting every backpack he sees in here.
Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch together again. I think this leaked out on a show on the BBC a while back that Brian Hitch was on. The host let this slip, and apparently this is what they were talking about. So it's a 12-issue series. Brian Hitch just did that with Hawkman. Yeah. So,
I mean, I'd be more worried about Warren Ellis than Brian Hitch. And I'm not like super worried about Warren Ellis, but yeah, you're right. He hit Hawkman month to month. So
and this is like its own standalone set
and
thing.
It's not oversized or anything, where it would make him fall behind. On the next page, Brian Azzarello doing Birds of Prey. I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I can't wait to someday get to hear the story of all the things that got changed because Bleeding Cool leaked them early. Because the original version, allegedly, of Heroes in Crisis, Bleeding Cool leaked, and originally Brian Azzarello was doing Suicide Squad with Wally West.
Right.
And that's not happened now, and somehow we now get Birds of Prey.
With Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because there's a movie coming out, I hear.
Right, yeah.
And there's a J. Scott Campbell variant cover.
Yep.
For the J. Scott Campbell fans.
That ought to sell crazy.
Yep.
The next page, more the Year of the Villains, including John Carpenter.
Well, John Carpenter and Anthony Birch, I think it will be doing the heavy lifting on that one. But yeah, you get a book with John Carpenter's name on there.
Kind of cool. And you and I talked about this last time. I have to give DC credit as much as I think these are probably largely, not books anybody demanded there be a series of $5 one-shots. They have not in any way skimped on the talent on them.
No.
They didn't pull the interns up and have them fill in for an issue. They've put like legit talent on all these books.
These aren't tryout books,
So, I mean, John Romita, Paul Jenkins, John Carpenter, Philip Tan, it's all people who do good work. So
after that, on page 9, we've got the Batman number 251 facsimile edition. And this is a reproduction of the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams story, The Joker's Five-Way Revenge, which is just like a classic Joker story, kind of bringing him back to his more homicidal roots. And it's the iconic, giant Joker with Batman on a playing card over the city that they merchandise like crazy now, too. You can get posters, shirts, all kinds of stuff.
Those
with this
wooden
image
things
on it
they sell at Hobby Lobby, wooden signs.
Well, we talked about that book last previews, though, didn't we?
I feel like we did.
Because you talked about somebody cosplaying as this cover.
Yeah.
So what was that for? Like a omnibus or something, or a trade or something that cover was on?
I'm trying to think now. I can't remember. Go back and listen and let us know.
Yeah.
After that, we've got the Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. Is this Black Label?
No, and that's super weird.
It seems like
to
it
me.
should be.
Should be.
Second time I'm going to say I can't believe Vertigo had to die for this.
Yeah.
Was like we've got these mature readers books that now aren't in the mature, like it's marked mature readers, and it's not in the mature readers line.
And it's a prestige format mature reader, which you would think means black label now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And neither is the Joker book by Jeff Lemire on the next page,
Yeah, it seems
which
like
is also mature readers
both
and
should
prestige
be.
format.
You know what? I feel like these were announced as black
do too.
label. I
I
feel
do
like
too.
in San Diego or something they said they were. I wonder if it's just not labeled in the catalog.
There is a
that
rumor
way.
that Black Label is not on good terms with Warner Brothers. That basically they killed Vertigo, and then DC was like, "Okay, mature readers out. We'll just make this other line." And they were like, "Wait, no, we said no mature readers books."
Right.
And DC was like, "Heard you, Black Label it is."
Right.
So that
Well, it's such a weird thing because also Superman Year One is mature readers. No.
Yeah,
It is
you
just
read
part
it,
of-
right?
Yeah, I read the first issue.
I expected
You
it to
know.
be so much grittier for it being Frank Miller's
Miller,
Black
yeah.
Label Superman Year
I
One.
wasn't expecting that, but like I feel like Black Label was supposed to be one thing.
Yeah.
Now it's become New Vertigo.
Which hilariously is the reason Vertigo doesn't exist either. Vertigo
Yeah.
was supposed to be one thing, and then Vertigo became this catch-all for everything that doesn't have a cape.
Right.
And then they
Or
kind
Astro
of
City.
yeah. Well, but Astro City was Wildstorm until Wildstorm
Yeah.
wasn't a thing anymore,
Exactly.
and then they were like, I don't know, whatever this is.
Well, it was supposed to just be DC, and then Kurt Busiek asked to be folded into Vertigo so people wouldn't think he was bringing Astro City to DC,
Yep.
which is understandable.
On the next page, another book that totally would have been a Vertigo
Absolutely
book.
would have been Vertigo. And
A,
I feel
a
like
dark fantasy book called The Last God.
Yeah.
If I've ever seen a book that screams, I'm a Vertigo book, it's this.
Yeah.
But no, it's
and
not.
I feel like this was probably already in the works when they shut down
Yes.
Vertigo, so that we still got to come out with this.
That is a fantastic point. I completely agree.
I don't have anything till 22.
I got 17 just out of snark. Did anybody ask for 12 issues of Dan DiDio writing Metal Men?
Did he do it before?
I don't
Did
know.
he do a previous Metal Men series? Because I feel like he has, but I
don't
might be
know.
confusing it with something else.
I don't know, but I feel like every once in a while he gets, because he's an exec, the chance to write a book. It never sells.
Yeah.
And then it's a shelf filler of a book.
Well, they got to retain the copyright and trademark, especially now with movies being so like they're going to make a Metal Men movie.
Well, you know, as hard as it is to believe that anybody's ever going to care about a Metal Men movie, literally stranger things than that have happened, right?
Right.
So, who would have thought Ant-Man would make so much money? Other than me. Other than me.
You and Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, I'm there.
Back on 16, you got the second issue and final issue of the Legions of Superheroes Millennium. So that's just a 2-issue series. So that's one that you could overlook if you aren't careful. And then on Metal Men #1, I see that Shane Davis is doing the art.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen his name pop up in quite a while. So on anything.
Yeah.
So
Who's really good.
yeah. I met him at the Cape Convention a few years ago.
I could
so-
not meet him at the Cape Convention because someone was monopolizing his time at the table
No!
the whole time I was there. It was annoying.
Was it Scott?
It was not. It was not
Okay.
Scott.
I had to be at my booth
No.
at least part of the
assumed
time.
not.
So
I was like,
yeah.
well, if there's shade being thrown, I'd like to hear it. Let's get it out. We just changed.
We're gonna have it out. I've been holding this in for
Right.
4 years.
We just changed format. This is a Springer style show now. Nobody knew, but I'm going to bring somebody out of the back, and they're let's bring him on back to confront Dan. On page 20, the DC's Halloween special, which is $10 for 80 pages. It's a little too much, but it's always cool. Man, I love that cover.
Yeah.
And the name, The Secrets of the Sinister House, is such a fantastic 70s DC style book, and it looks like it's a Hammer horror poster. It's got a vampire Batman behind a like fancy scared Joker. It looks like he's got some late 60s, early 70s clothes on. It's just a really, really cool cover. So I'm gonna buy it honestly for the cover. On anybody gonna talk about 22 and 23?
Well, I want to talk about 21 real
Okay.
quick. I kind of skipped over it without realizing it. We've got Superman Smashes the Klan, #1. And yeah, it's that Klan, folks.
Yeah.
The one you're thinking of.
So get ready, because the internet will be full of, why can't DC just leave politics out?
Right.
But let's just remember, if you looked at this and you felt criticized, maybe it's time to take a hard look at your politics.
Well, I don't know if I should even say this, so I'm not going to. Never mind. I'm not even going to say it. So go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So the origin of this book, though, is a run of the old Superman radio show from the 40s, where Superman went up against a very KKK-like organization, and so that's kind of where the roots of this are. I don't know if those are available, those original shows, because it seems like they sporadically release those radio shows over time like that.
I feel like they were a long time ago. We had a customer back when I worked here who used to buy those radio serials, and I don't remember if one of them came in and he was telling me about it, or if it's just a time that he told me about how there was a Superman Fights the Klan.
Yeah.
I know that there used to be a couple of companies that did archival projects back on CD for radio shows.
And there are companies that do release this stuff commercially you can get.
Still does anymore.
But it seems like specifically the Adventures of Superman radio show is very sporadically released. This is the time to re-release a set of those shows, specifically that storyline, I would think, right now, with this coming out. So it'd be interesting if somebody does that.
For sure.
Because it's one of those things I've heard about for years, but I've never actually heard the shows. After that, we've got Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman, Nightfall #1, and The Death of Superman #1. Sort of Elseworlds sort of takes on these events.
I think this cover's cool with Lois Lane as the Eradicator. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. They're one shot.
Lee Weeks cover.
Yeah, I'll probably pick these up. It's not like it's a 12-issue miniseries or something. Any thoughts, Matt?
I got a Facebook message from somebody when these were announced. They were like, "Did you see these?" And I said, "Ugh." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Who wants these? Like, who said, give me another take on..." I say this as a person who's probably going to buy them because Batman's in one of them, but I just kind of roll my eyes and I feel like I got focus grouped into this. Like, well, our numbers say that there's a lot of 40-somethings who remember the 90s fondly.
Well, that's the thing.
Let's get
that's
more of their
definitely
money.
what they're targeting with this. Like, there's a reason they chose these events.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the trial of Barry Allen being Dark Multiverse in here. They're like, hey, you about 40? Yeah. You remember this stuff from when you were a teenager? You want to buy it again?
Right.
Not really, but
people still buy Superman 75, Death of Superman.
Yeah.
If you've got one that's still sitting around in the black bag, people will buy it.
Not for as much as you're wanting, though.
No, not for $1 million, but
that's the other point.
You can get about 15 to 20 out of it.
If somebody has it, they're going to try and sell it to you if they aren't buying one. Death of Superman. And...
So after that, we've got the the reboot of the 100-page Giants.
Dude, I'm completely lost about this. And I say this as a guy who buys the Walmart books. Mm-hmm. So they're relaunching these, but they're going to start at Walmart first. But then it says, including 24 pages of new material. Some will say 30 pages of new material. Mm-hmm. Well, that means that's different stuff. So the reprints of Batman Giant #1 with more stuff that wasn't in the original ones? Or are these completely different
I thought these were supposed to be completely new books. But like now, the line will be available at mass market, Walmart, and the comic shops.
Yeah, they're going to have them at Target, and there's somewhere else that has them too, because I saw the different displays that they have. I don't know if you've seen the horror stories about how mishandled the books are at Walmart.
Oh, I've got horror stories of how those books are mishandled at Walmart.
Have you seen the pictures? Bleeding Cool runs them all the time. There are a bunch of Walmarts that have these like squishy, they're like gel stress relief balls that are in the bags. They keep coming busted, and they're hung above the way Walmart's shelving stuff is. It's supposed to be hung above the comic books, so people keep coming in and they find the entire rack of DC is covered in this like crusted gel crap. So now DC has started telling Walmart and mass market retailers that they will manage it, which is hilarious because I own one of the displays. I got my Walmart to let me take the display. Yeah. And they will definitely not let you do that now. No. So if you want one, now's the time to try and convince your Walmart to let you take it.
There's also a video online of Jim Lee going to a Walmart store and restacking all of those books.
I like to imagine he's mumbling "freaking kids" the whole time.
But now, whereas right now there are currently 6 ongoing titles, now there's 10. So they're at least, it's profitable enough that they're expanding the line, I guess. I don't have anything for a little bit.
Yeah, well, 29. So Batman 80 and 81. What is Tom King's last issue again? I always forget.
Tom King's last issue is 85?
85? Okay. All right.
Something like that.
And then
we'll see what it is, I guess.
Yeah. And then on 30.
It's either 83 or 85. It's basically as soon as City of Bane is done, he's done. Everything that was supposed to come after City of Bane goes to Batman Catwoman.
So page 31, you got Batman Annual 4, also written by Tom King, which I wonder if this annual is like one of the stories that he planned on putting into and they just moved it to an annual.
I don't believe that it is. I don't remember if Tom King said it about Weeks and Fornes or if one of the artists said it about them, but I believe the story was specifically written for the two artists as an annual. And that is that is the most on-brand book for me I've ever seen. Tom King, Lee Weeks, and Jorge Fornes. If you're not familiar with either of those artists, good Lord, have you missed out. They're both fantastic.
Yep.
And it's very well suited to King's style, too. I'm very happy about it.
On 36, we've got Batman Creature of the Night, number 4.
How late?
I know, that just stood out to me. Like, I forgot this was still going.
Yeah.
I haven't been picking it up, but I thought, oh, that ended, right? Nope. Just super late.
I guess I forgot that we got 1, 2, and 3. I remember getting 1 and 2. I assume I have 3, but it's been so long ago that
I'm sure we have, but I don't remember it either now that you're saying that.
I guess we did.
We've got Batman Ninja Turtles 3, number 6 wrapping up this month.
Page 44.
On 42, we've got Deceased number 5. October has 5 Wednesdays, so we're getting some weekly books this month. The 5th issue of Deceased comes out at the beginning of the month, and I believe the last issue comes out at the end of the month. Yeah. So they're kind of wrapping up the Deceased storyline in October, which is appropriate for Halloween. So
Page 45, you got Deceased number 6, which I'm digging this Darkseid variant cover.
Yeah.
So I think that's the Matina variant. Of course, you got a pretty sick Detective Chimp cover as well.
Sick.
Yeah, there you go.
Sick Detective Chimp, for those who are not aware, is the name of Scott's punk band.
I don't even think it was 74.
The next thing I has is 57 to cover something we talked about earlier. I thought it was Scott, but apparently it was Dan. In our investment book recommendation last time was Harley and Ivy number 1. And in this one, the Floronic Man is on the cover, and as it says that it is about Harley or Ivy beginning to understand her place in the green. If you read Justice League Dark, there's been some developments with the Floronic Man's connection to the green, which is the force that powers Swamp Thing. And I think Dan made a really good pick. I think there might actually be some legit implications for DC from that. So hats off, Dan. Good
I ordered 4 copies of that book because you recommended
There you go. And everybody else should too.
Mm-hmm.
I got what's everybody's next page?
That's what I say. 74, I think is my next thing. So
I've got 64.
go.
Lois Lane number 1 was a lot of fun.
Was it?
I haven't read it yet.
I'm super. 2 is out. We're looking at it on the shelf today, so that'll be hopefully one of the books I get a chance to read when I get home tonight. But no, Lois Lane has been a lot of fun. Maybe not quite as good as I hoped it'd be, being as a Rucka writing a detective story.
Well, I feel like he's wanted to do this for so long. This should be pretty polished in his head.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it's also 12 issues, so I'm not giving it too hard of a time that number 1 didn't, stomp the gas. I feel pretty good. A 12-issue run of Rucka doing that is going to be a lot of fun, I think. My next thing is 70.
Okay, 70, go.
I really just want to comment. Have you guys seen how late Shazam is? Why are they still soliciting Shazam?
I don't know.
The next issue, which I think is 7, is currently 4 months late now and isn't going to be out for like another month and a half or something. Wow. It's really crazy. So it turns out, I guess, you would think that Doomsday Clock was late because of Gary Frank, right?
Right.
But Jeff Johns also does Shazam, and it's way late. So I guess it's Jeff Johns? Or maybe it's both.
It's
but at
Dale
least
Eaglesham doing Shazam, right?
Yeah.
I don't see him not being able to crank
That's
a
what
monthly
I thought,
book.
too. And he did. He always kept up with JSA and I'm trying to think what the other...
He did
DC
Gotham
book.
Knights. Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's Jeff Johns. Maybe all the fingers have been pointed the wrong way.
Well, point one finger out, Matt.
Yeah, that's true.
Page 74, Superman Year 1, Issue 3. So the last issue is at least solicited. The first issue's out. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it won't be as incredibly late as I expected this book to be. So maybe it'll come close to being maybe only like a month or 2 behind schedule, as opposed to 6 to 10 months behind schedule. My next thing's on 91.
My next one's 78. You get the same comment I do, probably, right?
Go ahead.
No, you go for it.
Well,
man.
I'm not reading it.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news on everything.
Well, guess what? Nobody else is either.
Yeah.
Because they are canceling this book or resoliciting it for a later date or whatever their
The book in
excuse
question is Wildcats number 3. Yeah, I assume you saw the same thing I did. The artist, which is, who is it? Ramon
Villalobos.
Yeah. He was very optimistic, like, I just need some time to catch up. Right. And Warren Ellis went into full-on crotchety old man mode and said, no, the book's canceled. It's not happening. And then he made some sort of snarky remark about maybe someday they'll find an artist who can write my old man crap. And then that's it. Book dead. So all those podcasts I've said, you guys, do you think I'm going to get all my Wildstorm? Do you think they'll really do it? Where is it? Well, the answer is, I guess that's it. I feel like there's no way they don't do something with Wildcats again, right?
Again in 5 years.
He
seems
says
what
that
always happens. It seems like there's been so many misfires on relaunching Wildcats.
Ellis says that he had 2 or 3 of the scripts already done, and I guess they canceled it because of art. Like, just go find another artist.
Yeah.
You know, is it that big of a deal? Just find another artist. So, especially because this was
it was supposed to be an ongoing, right? It wasn't a miniseries.
No, this is a miniseries too. All of the Wildstorm stuff that he was doing was a mini. The Wildstorm was supposed to be 24 issues, and those came out. Then there were supposed to be 4 6-part minis that went along with it. The first one was Michael Cray. That came out and finished. Or the 12-part? 12-part? Anyway, there's supposed to be 4 tie-in minis. The rumor was they were Wildcats, The Authority, and Gen 13. But we never got The Authority or Gen 13 even announced, and Wildcats got announced and got canceled.
Right.
So I'm sad.
I think we all have books like that.
So page 91, we've got some dollar books from DC. Batman 497, the Bane Breaks the Bat, Joker #1, Superman 75 because there aren't enough copies of Superman 75 floating around any place. Swamp Thing '1 and Watchmen #1. So most of those, probably the most expensive book on that list is probably Joker 1. Just 'cause I think it's a little bit harder to find. I don't know what Watchmen 1's going for right now, though.
Not crazy. Yeah. Well, I don't know. That show's starting up. Maybe people might.
Watchmen 1, not so much. Watchmen 1 through 12.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Decent little chunk. I just told somebody that today. He was talking about buying some 80s and 90s DC books, and I said, there could be a whole round of Watchmen in there. And he was like, so which Watchmen should I be looking for? And I was like, you should be looking for 1 through 12. Yeah. Don't look for like a random assortment. That's not any good.
Though I do need an issue 11. For some reason my set doesn't have number 11. Yeah. Page 93, we've got Superman Up in the Sky 4, written by Tom King, plus it has a Superman Flash race cover for everybody who likes the Flash Superman race covers.
95, we've got the start of some of the acetate covers here that are coming out in November, so you can see what they look like here. It seems to be the gimmick is there's something crazy on the cover, then when you flip open the acetate, there's a twist behind it there, so some hidden characters and stuff like that, so you can kind of see what they all are for this advanced solicitation. There's quite a few of them.
Are you going to get any of them?
Oh, I'm sure I'll get the Batman ones. Probably the books I normally get, I'll get these covers for them, but I'm not going to get all of these. I'll probably get the Batman family books in general. On 118, we've got a new collection of The Absolute Fourth World by Jack Kirby, Volume 1. And this is, the first chunk of Kirby's Fourth World saga. What is it? 816 pages for $150. Not bad. Especially probably cheaper than getting all the real ones.
Yeah, and that's usually put out in 4 volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jimmy Olsen 134 will cost you close to the 150 mark anyway.
That's what I was thinking as a dude who's been buying some of those Fourth World issues at cons lately. Yeah, they're up.
I kind of want an artist edition of Kirby's Fourth World so we can see where they pasted on the Kurt Swan Superman face to everything. To all the Superman drawings. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine them doing that today?
Can you imagine that original art was just sent in the mail?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or shredded. Just destroyed.
Or used for notes.
Yeah. Given away to fans that come in the office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here, kid.
Yeah.
Take some priceless art.
I know. Where was I when that was going on? After that, on 119, we've got Batman, the 1989 movie adaptation, deluxe edition, hardcover.
Why?
I'm going to get it.
Why?
Because I like that. Well, I love that movie.
Well, yeah.
But it's a good adaptation, too, of it. Jerry Ordway made the good call of getting likeness rights to the actors in that, and none of the other merchandisers did. So he made a good chunk off selling that artwork to other companies that licensed the Batman property that year. So,
do you not have it already?
No, I've got it.
Okay, that's why.
But this is like a nice hardcover they're doing, and the original I think is only 48 pages, and this book is 144. So,
wow.
I think there's a lot of extra stuff. What are they saying in here?
There's a whole lot of blank paper.
High quality
scans. So it's like the story and then the original art too.
Okay, so it's an artist edition built in.
Yeah, I don't know if I need all of that, but
but I mean,
if you're going to do it,
you've paid more and gotten less before, I'm sure.
True that.
Page 121, you have the Deceased hardcover being solicited the same month as the issue 6.
And after that, we've got a new DC poster portfolio. This is Year of the Villain, so it looks like it's a lot of the villain variant covers they're putting in here. For that. On 124, we've got DC's Wanted, the world's most dangerous supervillains, and this was like an old reprint series, reprinting old supervillain stories. I have a few issues of these. It's one of those things I always think about going back and picking them up, trying to track them down. But here they all are, collected here. On 125, we've got, what is it? The Death of Superman, The Wake trade paperback. This was a story that was digital first, and they're collecting now in print. And then we've got The Flash, 80 Years of the Fastest Man Alive, which will be out in November, but I'm pretty sure it's next year, isn't it? Wasn't Flash 1940?
I don't know.
So I feel like
Don't look at me.
that's for next year. After that, we've got Flash Year One hardcover. The story's still going on, but it's been really good. Joshua Williamson and Howard Porter art.
Hot take, I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
What, Flash Year 1?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's bad.
Really?
Yes.
I really like it.
I think the dialogue is aggressively mediocre.
Is it still Williamson doing the
Yeah,
writing?
uh-huh.
I've enjoyed his stuff so far. I haven't read this yet, but
Boy, I hope we don't have Josh Williamson at a con soon, and we have to edit this. We have to edit this out. But man, somebody said something the other day about he's the last guy from Rebirth that's keeping his book, and I thought well, he kind of sucks too. He's the least good of all of them.
really, so I've enjoyed it.
I just think it's so maybe my standards are too high. The only time I ever really read Flash consistently, and I love the character, the only time I really read it consistently was Jeff Johns, and I really mostly read it during the whole Jeff Johns Scott Collins run,
I thought you were going to say Mark Waid.
which is
so.
pure freaking gold. I've never read that much of Waid's Flash, and I want to, and I just never have. I don't know why. I love Mark Waid. I love
I'm
Flash,
kind of the same boat with
but
that
I
for
just
some reason.
haven't. It's one of those ones that every once in a while I think about, like, oh, I should try and track those issues, those trades.
Right.
But the issues are shockingly hard to find. They shouldn't be that
Yeah.
rare. Like, they're from the 90s. They're not.
I feel
they're
like
not
the
that
book wasn't
rare.
selling that well then either, or
Yeah,
something
but
maybe.
they also haven't really like appreciated. It's just they're not valuable. They're just hard to find. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I always look for a good run, and people will have these shotgun method of like, you know, they've got holes everywhere in them where you're going to have to go and find those ones too.
Right.
So if I could find somebody that would just sell me the whole Wade run, I'd probably pay a premium for it to
Right.
do it. I just haven't been able to find one. But it's not that I think Williamson's Flash run has been bad the whole time. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't feel like the year one really is adding anything to it. It's just a time travel story about Barry turns out to still be Barry.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and the turtle's the villain. Okay. Sure,
Flash.
man. Sure, man. Whatever.
Flash Comics #1, January 1940. Now I don't know
Yeah.
if that's cover date, which means it would actually be November
Could
of
be, yeah.
39.
Right.
But so yeah, they got a
Could
little
be.
wiggle room right there.
What is this? 129. We've got the Man and Superman Deluxe Edition. This is the one shot that came out a while back from Marv Wolfman. I guess they're doing a deluxe version of this. I don't know if
I
there's.
feel like this is just a thank you to Marv Wolf.
You think so? Because I feel like were people demanding this? Like I didn't pick up that book. I don't know how good it was.
No, but I met Marv Wolfman last year, and I get it. He's a sweet, sweet man.
Yeah.
So I think when I saw that, I thought the same thing. I was like, I don't think he really needs that. But I imagine DC was like, Marv Wolfman,
Yeah.
throw the guy an extra paycheck. What do you say?
Yeah. Well,
and I honestly, having met him, can't hate it. I think it's a
Right.
great idea.
Well, you know, he had that injury sometime after a recent convention,
Yeah.
so maybe they are doing him a favor too.
That's,
Yeah.
I was going to say he's
DC
in his
may be doing it a
retirement
solid,
years.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. I think it's very nice if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Either way. So
On 130, we've got the Luthor trade paperback, and this is the collection of the Lex Luthor Man of Steel miniseries from back in the day by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo.
Has it been retroactively changed to Black Label?
It doesn't look like
Feels
it.
like it could have been. though.
Yeah,
and
def-
yet it
that,
wasn't.
Yeah, and the Joker book.
Yep.
It was retroactively renamed Luthor to go along with the Joker book. What is it? 132. We've got Superman City of Tomorrow Volume 1. This was the start of the run with Jeff Loeb, Joe Kelly, Ed McGuinness from, that was around 2000, right?
I was gonna
99,
say
2000.
Early 2000s, yeah.
So yeah,
That's what was on when I started working here.
yeah. So that whole run started really strong too. So this Volume 1's probably some good stuff in here.
It is. It's very fun. Light,
Oh yeah,
classic
it's the
Superman.
Superman Y2K #1 specials in here. So yeah, it's right around then.
135 Superman Year One hardcover also solicited this month, along with the final issue. So now this is solicit for sale on November 6th, and most of this stuff is coming out in October.
Yeah.
So a little, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to be close to on time. So I don't have anything else.
On 139, we've got the Batman vs. Harley Quinn Battle Statue 2nd edition, because they tried this, was it last year, I think, and like every one of the statues was screwed up.
So glad you said that, because I looked at this and I thought, haven't we, one, had this, and two, weren't they all broken?
Yep.
I remember Mike showing me how it didn't fit, and I looked at it and I kept like trying to figure out, is this just like the other one but different? This is literally just a reprinting of that statue, huh?
I think this is reworked.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like a new version of that same thing.
It's that same statue. Okay. But this one looks smaller to me too. I feel like they've probably scaled it back some too on this. But again, $375 price tag. Maybe let's scale this down a little more when everyone already has
we made it work this time, so we increased the price.
Everyone's already got a sour taste in their mouth from before with that. This month we've got the Batman Rogues Gallery multi-part statue of the Penguin, sort of like the villain statues that they're doing to complement the Batman family they did. And this month's Batman Black and White is the Doug Mackey statue, and I believe this is number 99, which makes the next one McFarlane's 1,000 or 100 that they're doing.
Nice.
So I think that's it for the DC catalog. On to Marvel.
Page 2, go.
No one let Jeff Dixon's wife hear that, because then she'll know how many Batman Black and White statues that man has.
Yeah, for sure.
You can hear her scream, "How many?" all the way from Carterville to here. It makes me super glad, by the way, because at one point when he started his run of those statues, I was buying them too, and then I went, maybe not. And if you know me, maybe not is not something I say all that often once I start collecting something. And I remember thinking, it could get out of hand real fast. And all these years later.
That's why I don't get statues to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that's why I gave it up. Mike bought most of my statue collection from me years ago. And as much as I would like some of those pieces back, generally I don't want all of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy back the collection. All right, so
page 2.
Marvel catalog.
Page 2, we got X-Men number 1, Jonathan Hickman. So this is going to come out of the end. Well, I guess actually issues 6 and of House of X and Powers of 10 are also solicited, but we've got looks like 3 new X books.
Is this X-Men number 1 or is this 10 Men number 1? How's that working?
I think this one's X-Men number 1.
Has anybody other than me read House and Powers?
No.
Oh man, it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah. So as a person who like got into comics in the 90s for X-Men when Jim Lee was still drawing, and the relaunched Jim Lee X-Men, it feels like what my brain thought X-Men comics were going to be like when I got into them. It's weird alternate futures and bizarre technology and cool powers, and it's just everybody's in classic costumes, and man, it's been a lot of fun. My hot take on House, though, and it turns out I'm not the only one that thinks this, and I'm glad, because I felt like I was going crazy. If you look at that cover of House of X number 1 with the professor wearing the Cerebro helmet, man, it sure looks an awful lot like Ultimate Reed Richards, a.k.a. the Maker, who wears a weird helmet like that. Mm-hmm. And if you read that issue, the professor acts very unprofessor-like. And I'm really hoping that the reveal on it is that all of this stuff was orchestrated by Ultimate Reed Richards. If they reboot X-Men by tying it to the Ultimate FF, I don't know. Like, the Marvel continuity fanboy in my head really, really likes the, like, intermingling of all that stuff all together. So I would be very, very okay with that. But I find this X-Men number 1 cover is very strange, right? It's all of the Summerses and their wife and their alternate daughter. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, Wolverine.
Wolverine's there too.
Yeah. And Wolverine, because it's an X-Men book and you got to have Wolverine.
Right.
And I'm not complaining because I hate Cyclops and I love Wolverine. But it's an odd team. There are no non-Summers related people other than Wolverine.
Or is he?
Yeah. Oh, man. Again, speaking of people you can hear screaming, Andy is screaming, no! All the way in Heron.
Excalibur number 1, I don't expect it's going to have the same feel as the other Excalibur series, from the the 90s. Yeah. Though I am a little disappointed that Hickman's not writing it as well. I really wish they would.
He would have been so good.
I wish they'd just do like 2 books and have him write them both, and that way we have that, person who's in control of the X
Yeah.
universe
Yeah.
instead of having 3 different books, and everything's gonna get lost.
So
really,
he
really
is
quick.
kind of show running in a way, the stuff. Like they're going off of his ideas, and he's sort of like the editor for the X line in a weird way. They said they're giving him a lot of like creative control over the line, but other people are still writing the books. Right. So I guess it'll be off of his concepts, and that's pretty all right. The Marauders, which is apparently X-Men Space Pirates or something.
Kitty Pryde and Lockheed.
Fine. Don't have to sell me twice. Let's go.
Though it's weird to see Pyro as part of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that not? Yeah, and Bishop. So we got Bishop in there as well. So and it looks like a much younger Kitty Pryde. So they're kind of going backwards with her age, I guess. But yeah. Page 12. So more dollar books. Got the first. Speaking of, got the first Kitty Pryde. Got the first Bishop. I guess is this the first Betsy Braddock? I don't know. Got the first issue of Days of Future Past. First Jubilee.
So all tying into the relaunch X-Men stuff.
I'm not sure what's special about
love
X
that
Factor 17.
I love that they've listed Uncanny 141 as Pyro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the only notable thing in that one.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not his first appearance. Yeah.
Just like, Pyro's in that one, yeah.
And if you're going to do 41...
It's not the most famous cover in X-Men history.
You got to do 42 with it. It's silly that they're not just doing both of those together. First Apocalypse. Is that the first Omega Red? No. What is that one?
Quanon.
I don't know. I don't know who Quanon is.
That is the person that Betsy Braddock displaced when she... So you remember when Betsy was an English lady, and then they went through the Siege Perilous, and she was an Asian lady.
X-Men
They
256 or something like that.
So basically, their whole question of, well, who the heck was that before she was Betsy?
Okay.
That was someone different, and they swapped bodies.
Okay.
So then she showed back up as in Betsy's original body.
Yeah, I don't think I was still reading X-Men at that time. So first Moira McTaggart. And somebody else I don't know.
It's from the 2000s Claremont era, so you're not really missing a lot.
So after that, we've got a couple new facsimile editions or old facsimile editions where we're getting Amazing Fantasy number 15, again, a new version of that. So if you missed the facsimile the first time, you can pick it up now. And again, $5, way cheaper way of getting that book. And then Incredible Hulk number 1.
My next thing's on page 49.
I've got 17. Man, that Absolute Carnage number 4 cover is awesome. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But my wife is kind of was an artsy kid back in high school and college, and when I was tagging the catalog up for the podcast, I showed her and I was like, I love this cover, and she goes, that's gross. And I said, it is gross, but can you imagine drawing that? And she looked at it and she was like, no, you're right. That's really awesome. I said, it is. It's so impressive. Like I'm excited about Absolute Carnage anyway, which I'm also staring at right now on the rack. So it's a big week this week. But yeah, that cover is great. Let me see. The next thing I have it's Marvel, so it'll probably be me before you guys. What's your next one?
24.
Go ahead.
We've got the Amazing Mary Jane. Blaze it.
Hey, it's gonna be. I was gonna say she's gonna be legal in Illinois in January.
Right.
Should have saved it. Have you got 27? Like,
yeah. What is it?
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, I looked at it and I thought, oh, this is that Peter David thing they've been doing. And then I look and I'm like, oh no, it's not that at all. It is with Jonathan Hickman and Nick Spencer, who's the normal amazing writer.
But all these other teams on here too.
But the description, it says it's a globe-spanning adventure that will test him as never before.
I wonder if it's like a chapter thing.
Right. They sort of imply that there's like format that's interesting about it, but they're not clear. And I agree. That's what I took away from it too, is, this is probably, it's 96 pages. You got like 6 creative teams. Yeah. They've probably all written about a half an issue apiece. But it's not clear that that's what's going on. And it's a bizarre way to sell a book.
Yeah.
Werewolf, Mary Jane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you were a fan of Capwolf,
and like Spidey in the black suit, there's all kinds of stuff going on
Werewolf
here.
Spidey as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And like they showed some preview art here, like the Spider-Ham's in here too. Yeah. Nick Fury, like I don't know what's all going on here.
It is just the buffet of Spider-Man stuff, but it's not clear why anybody would want that for $10.
Yeah. I feel like
if you're going to sell me a $10 book, you kind of have to, so Absolute Carnage, you were just remarking before the podcast, right? This is $8. Yeah. because it's Carnage and it's Donny Cates. So you've got a character that people still have a weird fixation on that hasn't been around for a while, and it's a fairly superstar writer. So will it sell at $8? Yeah,
Oh,
it will.
for sure.
Definitely. But that $10 Spider-Man book that doesn't have like a visual hook on the cover,
No.
It's an odd way to go about selling
I
it.
feel like I hope this is like DC Challenge, Commandy Challenge.
I was going to
Yeah.
say
when
that.
it just came up with crazy cliffhangers. The next guy has to figure it
Figure out a
out.
way.
And I think if
but
you tell people
promote
that,
it that way, if that's what it is.
exactly.
And again, I don't know that's what it is. That's just my guess.
Just guessing. And leaving people guessing is not a great way to have your book sell well.
No, especially not a $10 book.
Yes.
Because, like, I'm not necessarily going to recommend a $10 book to people when they come in the store.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't buy that $10 Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Of course you have to. No.
On 37, we've got Marvel Zombies Respawn #1 that they announced when Walking Dead got canceled, which led CNN to say that Marvel canceled The Walking Dead.
But didn't they, in a way? Hilariously, you had the opposite page. I have tagged 36. That is Patrick Gleason's debut on Amazing Spider-Man, I believe, which I'm really excited. Pat Gleason has been DC exclusive for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him jumping ship.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Like, I'm sorry to have him not be on DC books.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to see him draw Marvel characters.
Well, and the thing is, too, he's going to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's not like he got a bad
right.
deal.
They didn't.
You
They
know what
weren't
I
like,
mean?
why don't you go over there and
You're not doing a Sleepwalker
why don't you-
reboot.
right.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, why don't you go up there and do Darkhawk?
Yeah.
Like, no, they put him on Amazing.
Yeah.
They didn't even put him on like Friendly or Sensational.
Right.
They or
Yeah.
Superior. Like,
So,
put
I
him
mean,
right
good.
on
I'm
Amazing.
happy for him.
Yeah.
I've met him at a con. He seems like a nice guy. But yeah, I kind of wish he was doing DC stuff, but that's just me pouting.
Your next one, Ghost Rider
Ghost
reboot?
Rider, Beware the Ghost Rider, which I thought from this was the title of the book, but I guess it's just Ghost Rider.
Super excited. Plus, there's a variant Art Adams cover. Gonna want that, I'm sure. And then there's an Aaron Kuder cover too, which is also really cute.
Pat Gleason is also on Red Goblin, Red Death #1.
Oh yeah, you are totally right. Oh, that's big. Because they call him Pat on this one. I thought that was weird. When I was looking, I was like, so he's Patrick when he draws, but he's Pat.
Yeah,
he's
you're
Pat
right.
when he does co-writing or something over there.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, they probably just too long of a name. They had to shorten it to get it to fit in the one line.
Or maybe this is a tax issue and we just outed him to the IRS. He's like, no. Pat Gleason did that one. I don't know that guy.
On page 42, we've got the Ghost Rider graphic comic box this month with a couple different images that look pretty cool from the new book.
Yeah.
Then we've got Fantastic Four Grand Design #1 by Tom Scioli. I'm looking forward to this. I really like his work. I think he'll have a good take on Fantastic Four. On the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube show, they were kind of talking with Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg about this. They had a pretty lengthy interview with him on there about this book. It seems like, something they've all known about for a while that just got announced right before San Diego. So yeah, I'm definitely picking this up. If you were a fan of, X-Men Grand Design, probably pick this up. Ed Piskor's also come out since with a pitch for an Image Grand Design that's really fun, but will never happen.
Shadowhawk. Grand Design.
He's in there. He's a main
yeah,
part of his pitch. After that, we've got Dr. Doom #1 coming from the crack of Doom. I don't need to know anything about Doom's crack. Okay, let's just move on.
He's in
from
that armor a lot.
Yeah.
But why can't I get a Doom book that's just status quo Doom? It's always got to be some nonsense where he's in the future or he's been deposed. Just give me evil King Doom.
I looked at this and I thought, why is there a Doctor Doom ongoing? And then I thought, and why am I totally going to buy it?
Right.
Because I probably will, because I'm with you. I love Doctor Doom.
But they can never just give him.
No, I mean,
Here's the day-to-day of Doom in the castle.
even
and
the
dealing
Ed
with the
Brubaker
country.
one was like about him. Was he trying to save his mom's soul or something? It was
Yeah.
about him as a sorcerer.
The Books of Doom, right?
The one that Brubaker did, I think.
Well, that was kind of an origin. I take that more as an origin story.
Yeah,
for
but what he's saying is
retelling of
it's not
origin.
like
Yeah.
modern. This
Yes.
is Doom
Yeah,
now.
this
It's
is what-
always
it's always some
everything you knew was
tangent.
wrong,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mark Waid showed with Empire that you can do that book. You know what I mean? Just give me, this is what a supervillain ruler has to deal with.
Yeah.
There's some really good story opportunities there, which they never seem to want to do.
Man, when that book was out, I remember telling people, you got to check out Empire. And they were like, what is it? And I said, it's What If Doctor Doom won? And nobody else ever needed to hear another
Yeah,
sales pitch.
you know what
They're like,
that
that
is.
sounds fantastic. I'll read
Yeah.
that book. Yeah, you will. It's really good.
Page 49, 50, 51. We've got 3 books from a writer Alyssa Wong. Future Fight First. We have White Fox #1, Luna Snow #1, and Crescent and Io #1.
These are more of the books that are Marvel is really attempting to make original Asian characters specifically to appeal to the market in China, because China has been so important to Marvel's movies. They want characters that should the need be justified. Right. It's a weird thing. I want to tell people you should be buying these because they're going to be worth something sometime. But at the same time, I think, what are the odds they actually really do make an Arrow and Swordmaster movie? Slim. But what are the odds that they put it in something else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like they just said the other day, the next Avengers is going to look very different. And I thought, you've just created a ton of very Asian themed characters to appeal to the Chinese market. Yeah, I'm sure you probably are going to have a very different Avengers team in there.
And I think, is White Fox something that's already existing? Because I thought I'd heard there was a character like that they were already publishing overseas or something like that. And I want to say
some of these things have been already published in another market. Okay. They're being published in English here for the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also going to have Marvel's future Avengers in an all new story. So in the White Fox issue. So this is going to be my buy it just in case. This is my investment books just because there's going to be some first appearances of a lot of characters.
Yeah, you can't tell me one of these don't end up in the Shang-Chi movie.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? Like, no way.
I keep thinking every time they like they have just done this week, they trot the Agents of Atlas back out, and I think, man, if anything was made for a later phase Marvel movie than Agents of Atlas, as far as like B and C list properties that you don't see coming, it's so easy because none of those characters are so famous that anybody is going to throw a conniption fit if it's not cast the way they always dreamed they would be. Like no one's going to get that. Been out of shape. So it's a fun. I mean, right there is the whatever the ghost bear is, Crescent. Yeah. There it goes, right there on the cover of Agents of Atlas. On the next page, you got Contagion as well.
Yeah.
It's just zombies, right?
Yeah, of course.
I feel like they're just not calling it. I feel like it's like the Marvel Universe versus stuff they were doing before, like Punisher and Avengers and stuff like that, where it wasn't zombies, but it kind of was. Yeah. Just so they can kind of milk the zombie thing a little more.
Of course, all the moloids infected with whatever
who look like zombie moloids, mysteriously.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. And I guess it's going to be weekly, because I guess we got five Wednesdays that month. So.
And then on 58, this is my monthly reminder to read Immortal Hulk, because it's really, really good.
Because every month people come in like, oh, you got the new Immortal Hulk? No, we sold out. Because
Again,
we always sell out of that book.
I upped the order. There's one on the shelf over there I can see at least.
So people,
there's 2.
Okay, I was like, I know there's at least one. I can see it.
Well,
okay.
No, there's more than that. There's a few. There's 3 or 4 maybe.
I knew I upped it because I got tired of hearing about it too.
96. You guys got anything before that?
Nope.
I've got on 65. You're reading Captain America, right, Scott?
I'm a little behind, but yeah, I'm reading it.
Dan, how about you?
No.
Oh man, it's really fun. And spoilers. Put your spoiler headphones on for everybody. But he is back to being Super Soldier and not Cap. The costume that he had when Sam was Cap for a little while, and I love that costume, the energy shield and everything. But it's because Cap's name has been basically so besmirched by the fake news media, as it were, that they've turned on Cap, and that like all of these far right guys are calling him out as un-American. So he's given up the mantle of Captain America to sort of go covert, and it's been
the first time ever.
Yeah, I know that's never
happened before.
I thought they were going to say he's nomad again, and then I was like, oh, he's a super soldier. Oh, okay. But it's been really, really fun, and man, the book is gorgeous, and every issue has been really good.
I think it's just to the finish, like issue 12 for the second story arc is not. I think it's coming out real soon. I read them when the arc comes out, so. So I'm waiting for that story arc to finish to catch up.
On 75, did anybody but me read Valkyrie?
I've picked it up. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read it yet.
Is it good?
It's fun. I liked it a lot.
And it's Jason Aaron, right?
Yeah, and Al Ewing. So it's Jason Aaron and the guy who writes Immortal Hulk, which, if I'm being honest, I may have passed on if it was just Jason Aaron. But,
I would have.
But
passed
again,
on it. Yeah.
I love Immortal Hulk, and I thought, well, I would have. I don't know that I had ever read an Al Ewing book and like noticed his writing to be of particularly high quality or anything for that.
Right.
I don't think I'd ever read one and been like, this guy sucks.
Right.
But I don't think I'd ever read one
Yeah.
and thought, man, he is talented as hell until I read Immortal Hulk. And now he's one of those guys where you could sell me pretty much anything from Marvel with his name on it, and I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But I thought Valkyrie was really a lot of fun.
Because I don't think a whole lot happened in the first issue. It's kind of
No.
just like introducing the character, basically, is what it boils
it
down
just
to.
felt like
That's
a
called
very-
the first issue.
Well, yeah,
anymore.
But it
But,
felt
I
like a
mean-
very classic Marvel first issue. Like if you issues of the art and the paper quality and stuff aside, if you told me that was an issue from the 70s, I wouldn't have felt really like it didn't feel like that. It had sort of a classic Bronze Age Marvel first issue feel to it. I really enjoyed it.
And she's
way more than I thought.
She's chasing down like a fragment or what used to be the Ultimate Thor hammer or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
and
I read it.
and,
I'm trying to piece it back together in my
and
mind.
what I'm totally blanking. The god who is the gatekeeper who can see.
Heimdall.
Okay, it's chasing his sword.
Okay,
too.
okay.
Someone has his sword.
Yeah.
And that
So there's a
allows
couple
him-
of things going on there. So, and of course she goes back and sees the original Valkyrie. So, my next thing's not till 126. So.
Mine's 97. Roy Thomas on Savage Sword of
Yeah.
Conan
Oh.
with Alan Davis art. It's just really cool.
Why isn't Alan Davis doing the cover?
Well, that's a
Is
great
my
question.
Like,
Because if
Marco,
you did the
Marco
cover, you
doesn't
would
know.
only get the cover and not the rest of the book.
All you gents.
Oh, so like we were saying before, I think last time it was just books you keep expecting to be canceled. Dr. Aphra, number 37. Oh, is this it? No, it's the first part of a new story.
Wow.
I don't know, but I think she's on the new issue of Galaxy's Edge
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
are they incorporating that character into the theme park?
No.
Okay.
But they have sort of. Han Solo's not part of it either, but he was in the first issue of Galaxy's Edge. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's sort of how
Are they trying to add credibility to this?
it's like how that part of the Star Wars universe existed and was important onto the fringe in multiple eras of the Star Wars saga.
Okay.
She's also there's actually a new Star Wars Outer Rim board game that's out, and she's actually one of the characters in that board game.
Oh, really?
I am assuming, and I probably am the only person at this table who knows this and cares, but the actual Galaxy's Edge theme park has a new canonical Star Wars character who is female and a person of color. So like that's a huge deal that they've made like new black characters for Star Wars. Until it's Lando and Finn.
Lando, yeah.
You got Lando and you got Finn. That's it.
Right.
So there aren't any black female characters in Star Wars of like note, like name
Right.
characters that carry books and things. So I'm assuming she'll be in the last issue.
Right.
I think her name's, I don't know how to pronounce it, actually. I assume it's Vi. It's VII. But I'm assuming she'll be in the fifth one, and that'll be like their
Right.
their clincher there for the whole series. But I've been really surprised that she hasn't shown up yet that I can recall.
On 110, we've got, going into some of the statues, we've got the Marvel Comic Premier Collection Hela Resin statue. And this is a pretty cool design here. It looks like a pretty decent statue of Hela there.
I think somehow I
feel like...
missed that these were in the Marvel section too.
Okay.
I have myself marked to talk about one of these when we get into the other section. But you go ahead and talk about the Hela one. I agree, it's fantastic.
I think it looks cool. I wonder how many of these are going to get shipped back with their headpiece broken
Yeah.
during shipping.
yeah, that's a good
Hopefully
point.
that's not the case.
And it's resin. It's
Yeah.
not like it's PVC where it would be
Yeah.
kind of wubba wubba.
Dub dub. After that, we've got the Marvel Select video game Spider-Man action figure, and this is based on the design from
very
the
cool.
PS4 game.
I want to be snarky about this Hulk statue, which I think is one of the ugliest statues I've ever seen, and it's $300.
Yeah, and I'm not crazy about the Hulk figure they did last month either.
It legitimately looks like a child in pajamas dressed up as the Hulk, doesn't it? It looks awful. It's just
That whole
it's so freaking bad.
that whole suit just is not a good looking suit. Period.
No.
Yeah,
But-
and
but
it's like,
they-
why are they still making? I know that's the scene, but I think it'd be better if they just left the suit out and just give you the whole.
and they list the sculptor's name, and I don't think they should have.
If I were him, it wouldn't be on my portfolio.
Yeah. After that, we've got the Ultimates by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch Omnibus new printing. I've been hearing some people lately online saying that the early Ultimate stuff doesn't hold up anymore. I haven't read it in years, So I can't remember.
As in the Ultimates or early Ultimate Universe in general?
Ultimate specifically, but Ultimate in general,
I have not
sounds
either.
like.
And now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I am.
Because I haven't read.
I remember
definitely
this was
have.
super strong when it came out. You've commented before. Everyone bought this book when
Yeah.
it came out.
Yeah.
And you had to wait months for some of those issues.
Yeah.
But and I remember it. I remember it fondly.
I
them
remember
being good books.
one time Ultimates, it may have been the one we talked about with the giant fold out, shipped. I don't remember if it was that one specifically. I want to think it was, but somebody will call me out if it's not, I'm sure. But one shipped when it was cold, so freaking cold. And it was a day that it was waffling back and forth between rain and freezing rain and snow.
Oh, yeah.
And Dennis was like, oh, no one's going to come in today. And I remember thinking, I don't know, the Ultimates came in. I think we'll do okay. And we had so many customers because people were like, the Ultimates came in right. And they'd come in dripping wet and bundle up. They'd be like, Ultimates is in right. You're not out, right? Like, nope, they're still there.
Yeah,
and we had a really good Wednesday. And he was like, there is no reason we should have had a good day today.
Yeah.
But Ultimates came out and people came in.
And there is not an equivalent to that now. I can't think of something that people are going to brave the weather for to come get anymore.
There were several books when I was here.
Yeah.
Jim Lee Batman,
Yeah.
Kevin Smith Green Arrow, Ultimates. I mean, honestly, off top, like Infinite Crisis sold a lot when that came out. JLA Avengers sold a shocking, a horrible amount for a book that wasn't particularly great. But I worked here for 7 years, and I can't think of too terribly many books like that were just, oh my God, get your butt to the store this week, now kind of books. But I think Ultimates was the book we sold the most of overall out of all that. I know we sold more copies of Ultimates by the time it was done than we did of Jim Lee's Batman, and I would have never thought that was going to be. That was a time when you couldn't sell the actual Avengers book for crap.
Oh yeah,
but you put Brian Hitch and Mark Miller on it, and everyone's like, can't get enough.
Yeah,
I'll buy it every week if it comes out, kind of stuff.
They got away with not calling that book Ultimate Avengers.
Yeah,
what's that tell you?
I remember thinking how dumb that was, that it wasn't called Ultimate Avengers, and then afterwards I thought maybe that was actually really, really smart.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't the brand it is today.
Yeah,
but Ultimates is part of the reason it is what it is. Yeah. We also have the Marvel Spider-Man, again, the game, script book, hardcover. So I think this is the script from the video game. I don't know. I've never looked at a video game script. I don't know if it's something worth reading. Or
have you played the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're just into like game development and that kind of thing, it's probably pretty interesting.
I mean, I think the writing is shockingly good for a video game. But I agree with you. I don't.
Right, but I don't know how that format translates to a book.
Yeah, completely agree.
Since we have Marvel Zombies back, we're getting all the trades again. We get the first one, the second, and third series. First two are still written by Robert Kirkman. If you like Walking Dead, zombie superheroes, folks.
Yep, it's Walking Dead, but more fun.
Yeah, and we're
more fun, less depressing.
Again, series that started off really strong, just got diluted over time.
Well, it's a classic comic book approach. If it's a good idea once, it's a good idea 100 times. Yeah. Oh, you like zombies, do you?
Right.
I'll give them to you every single week.
Then we've got the Marvel portfolio of Joe Quesada, so it looks like a lot of his work here in a portfolio. I think that's about it for me. I think
126. You got the Volume 5 of Immortal Hulk, and Volumes 1 through 4 are still available for order. So if you're interested in those,
if you're interested, come tell us for sure, because we're having trouble getting some of those in for some reason.
Oh, really?
So,
the Immortal Hulk trades?
Yeah, okay. I don't know what's going on with that. We're gonna have to look into that.
Page 132, they're soliciting a few of the Jason Aaron Thor. And this particular Thor Volume 1, God of Thunder Reborn, was like the first Jason Aaron story that I was really, really disappointed in. So, yeah, I was not
Hot
pleased.
take from Scott.
Yeah, I was not pleased with it at all. It was, so I don't know.
If
you like silly Thor.
Is this the current run?
Yes, it's part of the current run.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I kind of didn't love it that much either.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah. Well, it felt like, let's take all the, the way they like do Thanos, there's a Thanos Hela relationship, and it's like high school drama relationship. It was just absurd.
It was really uneven because it was both very jokey and very dark.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
Do you think he's been on the book too long?
Possibly.
They keep saying he's done, and then we're like,
but
how now King Thor?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try King Thor.
I know.
But
I think the same thing.
But this one was just not good at all. So it's like it literally is in the Iron Man storyline. they had this time where he kept his suits in space, and whatever he needed would just get dropped down to him. And they're doing that exact same thing with Thor and hammers, and he's like breaking a dozen hammers in every single issue.
Just like calling random Mjolnir knockoffs.
Yes,
over
exactly.
And,
And it was just plus the whole Thanos hell. It just wasn't good.
I'm running low on hammers, kind of stuff.
Yeah, he'd have 2 or 3 at a time and break 2 or 3 of them. It was just absurd. And then 147. If you have not read Tom King's, I'm sorry, I jumped past you. If you have not read Tom King's Division, here's your chance. They got the complete collection trade paperback.
Just won a bunch of Eisners.
Yeah, and
for a collected edition.
And it will probably have something to do with the whole WandaVision series.
I would be stunned if it didn't.
Yeah. So
back on 145, we've got the Deadpool by Joe Kelly Complete Collection Volume 1. If you like Deadpool, this is why you like it. It ain't because of Rob Liefeld. It's because of when Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness sort of reinvented the character, made him the merc with a mouth.
When they put all the fourth wall breaking stuff that everybody associates with the character now.
It comes
rather
from
than just being a Deathstroke knockoff.
Right.
146 for fans of What If. There's the classic, the Complete Collection Volume 2. So I don't remember seeing Volume 1, but that also is going to be a
that
series.
was in there a while back. I can't remember how long ago, but yeah. On the last page here, we've got 6 posters, and they show them all. So, again, ruining our fun. Now we're moving on to the big book.
Big book.
Big book.
I have shockingly little in the big book.
I don't have a whole lot either.
Daniel.
Page 34, 35.
31, get your copy previews. Go on.
We've got this year's Halloween Comic Fest.
Mike's not here, and all the rules are getting
That's
thrown
right.
out.
Mike's not here. We're participating in Halloween Comic Fest. Come get your books. And there's a really cool Kelly Jones T-shirt that's available too. That they don't make in my size because that's how it rolls when you're heavy.
46. Have the Mark #1, just a new story, series premiere from Image.
This arguably would be my investment book because if somebody said to you, it's about Instagram influencers who are witches, tell me that doesn't sound like something that gets adapted into a show for Netflix or a movie.
But are they?
What?
Are
Instagram influencers witches?
Yeah.
I think they probably are.
I think there's a case for that.
It's also double sized for regular price. So, 40-page book for $4.
If that were DC, they would put a cardstock cover on it and charge twice as much.
There you go. Exactly. So, 50 is my next thing.
Yeah, on 50, we've got Nomen 1.
I would say Nomen Omen is how I would say that. But both it and Marked have a few pages of art. I think the art for Marked 1 looks a little bit better than Nomen Omen.
Yeah, the art for Marked looks good.
But I don't know. I'm interested in both of them, I guess, is what it boils down to. So,
Nomen Omen looks like it's art from an Oni book from the mid-aughts.
Also,
and I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah. Also, 15 issues. That feels like it's going to be,
Feels like they're being honest with how long this book's going to last.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like an odd number. It's like 12 to me seems like a lot. So 15 seems like it's way too much.
Well, you're getting a lot of 5-issue trades now too, so that might be playing. We might see that trend start to play towards that too, where we get 3 trades.
I know it sounds nitpicky, but I do think 5-issue stories are better than 6. There's very rare that I've ever read a 6-issue arc of anything and thought this totally needed to be 6 issues. Most of the time, I feel like a 6-issue arc could be a tight 5 without there being any real loss of quality.
Right. I think it just depends on the story.
Batman Who Laughs was 7 issues and it should have been 5.
Yeah. I feel like that was still supposed to be 6. They're like, hey, let's build into this new series that they like to do with everything.
Yeah. Are you wishing it was less just because you have so much to read? You want to read less of the other things so you can catch up with the other stuff that you want to read?
You'd think, as many books as I buy, that I would have a hard time keeping up, but I don't.
Okay.
I think part of it is like...
You're not reading during your commute, are you?
not that you know. But no, my wife generally takes off and goes shopping with her mom on Saturdays, and I kind of get like 4 or 5 hours to myself, and I can go through a lot of comics in 4 or 5 hours on the couch without anybody bothering me. So I read a lot, and I read Marvel. So the way I get through so much is all my Marvel books get read on the iPad. That means that anytime I am in the bedroom, I've got my iPad laying on the nightstand. So like if it's one of those come in here and look at what I'm thinking about wearing tomorrow. I'm going through my closet. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I stretch out on the bed and I reach for the iPad and I get at least one book read. But every time, I drag the iPad around to every other room in the house. But my read box is in the living room. It's got all my DC stuff in it. iPad's in the other room. So between the two, I kind of get through a lot more than you'd think. Saturday mornings, I don't like to sleep. I literally don't like to sleep. If I could never sleep, I would. I resent that my body needs to sleep because I waste a third of my day or whatever. Like, I'm just laying there. So my wife would sleep 23 and a half hours a day if she could. So on Saturdays, I usually wake up at my normal time and I just sort of stretch out, relax, reach over, get the iPad, and read a week's worth of Marvel on a Saturday morning from bed.
Well, I just asked that because I had somebody relating to like the same thing on TV. Like somebody saying that they thought like the third season of Daredevil was too many episodes, and it was like, no, I wanted more of that. I thought, well, maybe it's just the same.
I want
same
more
thing.
seasons of that.
Yeah, I want more seasons,
thought,
but I would have taken a few more episodes of that. Just
I thought that with Game of Thrones final season and with Stranger Things that they were the exact wrong number of episodes. They should have either been a couple of more or a couple of fewer. Like you had just enough time to waste a little. Yep. In which case, it would have been better to stretch it out and explain some things better and not have to hurry through anything at all, or chop some out and just pedal down, man. Let's go.
My next thing's not till 64.
Well,
so.
Mine's 63.
58. We've got Copra #1 by Michael Fife. I'm not sure how to pronounce that for sure.
I like your pronunciation. Let's go.
He's not doing it on Etsy anymore. So now you can get these books for real.
That's right.
And again, all the trades will be out by then too, so you can get caught up on that book. After that, we have Dead Eyes #1 by Jerry Dugan and John McCrea. So I guess this is Dead Rabbit.
Rabbit,
right?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you'd heard all of the.
Yeah.
Somebody else owns that name. The very valuable Dead Rabbit trademark.
We talked about that back when it happened, but it looks like they've got their ducks in a row now and are releasing it legally.
Or the rabbits.
Yeah.
My next one is 63. It is Killer Be Killed Deluxe Edition. It's the entire series for $50. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And if you haven't read it, it's so good. The description, their little sentences, one sentence is Catcher in the Rye meets Death Wish. That's fairly accurate, but I feel like the thing that's being undersold here and really not mentioned at all is that it also has this really great, I would think of it as being like a 70s Marvel kind of vibe of, it's got this kind of creepy, gritty horror thing to him where he believes that a demon is making him kill bad people. And it's really good, man. I love that book. I'm so sorry it's over, but it's a book that I'm glad it ended rather than just continue on forever.
Right.
It had
just
a nice
Punisher or something.
Yep. And it's a book where you think, I saw Ed Brubaker talk about the number of people who cosplay as this character at cons.
Pretty
and he's
easy
like,
cosplay too.
First of all, great, it's brilliant. You can do it real easy. But secondly, I bet you get checked at bag check extra hard because you just look like a nut job. And another thing is he was like, I really do worry that people think that I was like making him a hero. He's supposed to be a bad guy. Like, you're not supposed to idolize Dylan. He's supposed to be a questionable, definitely mentally ill kind of guy. And on the next page, have you got anything on 64?
Well, 64, you got Little Bird, Fight for Elder's Hope hardcover. I read the first issue of this series whenever it came out. I surprisingly enjoyed it, so I don't know what I was expecting from it.
Yeah,
but so here's your chance to pick up the full series hardcover, $30.
On 65, again, to go with more Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, because I'll buy anything. My heroes have always been junkies. Is a one-shot graphic novel they released in hardcover not too terribly long ago. It is technically set in the criminal universe, but you don't have to have ever read any of the criminal books before. It's really, really good. And I think it got nominated for Eisner's. It may have won some of them too, but it's $13, and it is quite good.
On 68, we've got Street Angel, Deadly Squirrel Alive trade paperback by Jim Rugg, also co-host of the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube. I definitely want to point this out because he liked some of my Instagram posts the other day, so we'll give him a shout out here with his book.
Page 69,
Dan,
Gideon Falls, Volume 3.
There's a name on the floor. Did you just drop that?
Oh, no, I think on 71, we've got The Walking Dead Omnibus Volume 8, and this is 169 to 193, which that's the last issue,
that's
right?
The last issue,
so this is your last Walking Dead Omnibus.
So is that a re-solicit? Because didn't it have last month just to 192?
I think that was that a trade? I don't think that was the omnibus.
Okay, so that was just a trade.
Because there's so many different formats they put these books out in. It's hard to keep straight.
My next thing's not till 90.
Oh, mine's 96.
Mine is 78. I tagged this, and it now seems oddly prophetic. I tagged page 78 because die number 8 is listed, and if you've noticed, die has been selling out before it hits shelves. And what book did we not get this week that Matt pre-ordered? Why, it's die number 6, which apparently sold out and we didn't get. So that's fun. But if you are not reading it, it's really good. It is D&D, but very, very adult and very dark and a lot of fun. On the next page, on 80, Gideon Falls has another issue. It's beginning of a new arc. Am I the only one that reads this? I think we talked about this before.
I've read the first trade, and I haven't picked up and read the second trade yet. But.
So it takes this really cool turn that really complicates the narrative by making it a multiverse. This is almost like Dark Towery, where they're chasing this bad guy across dimensions and times, and he's doing the same things. But the barn is the nexus that leads them to all these other realities. There is the black barn in every reality, and it's always a source of like evil and murder and things. And it's really, really good. I'm super excited to have it back.
My next thing's until 96. You guys got anything before that?
Okay, so page 90, Spawn 302. They're stopping the homage to his Amazing Spider-Man books here at 302. Apparently,
cease and desist must have been received.
Right.
It's enough already, Todd.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have anything to 153. So.
96 going to Dark Horse. We've got a new Mask series. I hope some writer had a good hook on this. Because otherwise, why are you doing a Mask comic anymore? Especially not with the original creators. But it's there. After that, we've got what's the name of this? Count Crowley, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter #1, and this is like just in time for Halloween. It's written by David Desmalchin, which I think is the actor. Who, trying to think, nerds will recognize him. He was in Dark Knight.
This one doesn't.
He's the guy that Harvey Dent grabs in Dark Knight, the Joker goon that he questions. He was Abracadabra on the Flash TV show.
Oh, okay.
He's in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So just sort of on the fringes of the nerd world. He was on Svengoolie, if you watched Svengoolie a while back. I'm pretty sure that's who that is. Page 110, from Dark Horse, we have a collection, Choke Gasp, the best of 75 years of EC Comics. I feel like that title's a little misleading.
I do too.
We don't have 75 years of EC Comics. EC Comics has been around for 75 years. Or is that old. Going into IDW, just like we had last October, we're getting Star Wars Adventures, Return to Vader's Castle. So again, a weekly book for October. We've got Francisco Francavilla doing covers, but then he's also listed as an artist for every issue. So I assume maybe he's doing like a framing sequence or something, or it's a typo. I can't imagine he's doing the bulk of this because we also have other artists listed. On 136, we've got, again, keeping with the sort of Star Wars Adventures, is the Star Wars Motion Picture Slipcase. So this is a collection of the movie adaptations they've done by sort of the Star Wars Adventures teams. And I think there's supposed to be a spot for the Rise of Skywalker when it comes out. On 143, still in IDW, we've got maybe the best title this month, Marvel Solid Gold Superheroes. So it looks like a collection of some of the old Golden Age stories where we've got Captain America, the original Human Torch, but then we've also got Blonde Phantom, Sun Girl, Marvel Boy, and the Wizard. So some stuff that usually doesn't get reprinted anymore.
153, we've got ROM Dire Race #1, still from IDW. I thought this was kind of weird because I thought the Dire Wraiths were just exclusively a Marvel thing. So I'm not for sure, I guess, if they've come up with some type of a deal because there really wasn't much ROM to go with the original toy. There were no other accessories or action figures or villains that I was aware of. So for them to use the Dire Wraiths, maybe it's just like a blurb line. He fights Dire Wraiths on the toy, but I did think that was kind of odd. But anyway, 3-issue series from IDW.
Well, IDW is doing a lot with Marvel now. It's not that crazy that they would work out a deal for ROM to do that. I might rather see ROM fighting the Dire Straits, but we'll see.
They're the Sultans of Swing.
Yeah,
they get really good in there.
So they get their money for nothing and their tricks for free.
Oh, that's good.
we've got to do Star Trek books, Star Trek Voyager, Mirrors and Smoke, and so this is kind of continuing their Mirror Universe books they've done. I never watched Voyager. I really like these Mirror books, though, so I think it's just a one-shot, so I'll probably pick this one up. I think it's the same artist who did those. Let's see, I think my next thing's in Dynamite.
Okay, so 164, still from IDW. Jericho Seasons 3 and 4. This was a TV series that I liked quite a bit. So they're soliciting a trade paperback for, I guess, the continuation of that story, 3 and 4, or seasons, what would have been seasons 3 and 4. I really think that I've always described The Walking Dead as 28 Days meets Jericho. So if you kind of want to see what I think is some of the origins of the Walking Dead series, then here's Jericho. So
going into Dynamite, if you liked Art Germ's Vampirella cover, Dynamite is going to hook you up because we have the Art of Vampirella 50th anniversary poster book with that Art Germ cover. After that, we have the Art Germ Vampirella collectible bust, which is a bust of Vampirella's bust with Art Germ's design. We're getting the Vampirella 50th anniversary ultra premium trading cards, which shows a card of the Art Germ Vampirella cover. A few pages after that, we have the Vampirella by Art Germ collectible coin, which is like those painted coins we were talking about previously. So they are really milking that one cover. After that, we've got the boys collectible pin set. On 197, we have a Vampirella 6-foot Jose Gonzalez standee and floor display. So it's sort of a life-size stand-up, and then a little spot for to display books there.
Really a cool classic cover too.
Yeah, and again, you don't see too many of those anymore. And on 206, we have Vampirella number 4, now with another Art Germ cover. So I guess they could do a lot more with that too.
Hey kids, you like Art Germ?
Yeah.
I didn't see Christopher Priest's name on any of the Vampirella books this month.
He's still in the regular.
Is he?
one.
Okay, I just glanced at him real quick.
He's not doing it. He's not doing any of the other ones.
Yeah, just
he's doing number 4.
Okay, so he is on the main
the
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
main
I just missed
monthly.
it. So
Vampirella. After that, we've got the Vampirella number 1 replica edition. So this is like the original magazine. We've got foil versions of the logo in red, blue, and platinum, and they are $50, $75, and $100. I don't know who this is for, but
okay. On I don't have anything till on page 328. There's a Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton's kind of in our zeitgeist culture-wise right now, and so there's a book here on. Let me find. Lost my page here. Hamilton, the graphic history of America's most celebrated founding father. I don't know if I would call him our most celebrated founding father. But anyway, if you want a little history lesson about Hamilton, then here's a soft cover, $15, maybe worth a shot.
you can read it along when you listen to the soundtrack.
There you go. I don't know. It probably doesn't tie in, and the Hamilton musical's not quite historically accurate in a lot of places.
Are
I know
you telling me?
Yeah, it's a big surprise that that wouldn't be the case. But
Good authority.
and by
there
the
was
way,
an awful lot of hip hop back then.
yeah, well, even some of the things, like okay, we won't get into a discussion about Hamilton musicals. So,
Good, because I have no frame of reference at all.
Is this official yet? Can we talk about this? Do you know?
Yeah, you can
told...
because by the time that this podcast go up, it'll have already been made official. So
okay, so just throwing this out here on page 261, we've got our 260 and 261. We've got Dark Ark number 1. Written by Cullen Bunn, who is going to be one of the featured guests at SalukiCon, September 29th and 30th this year, and I'm going to be set up there. Mike's going to be have some presence there at the show as well, and Cullen Bunn's going to be there.
And Matt's wife works in the department that puts
There you
on the
go,
con.
yeah. And
we
who knows?
we
And
reached
maybe-
out and got him to be there.
Yeah, and
So-
Matt may get the privilege of driving around, some comic book celebrities again.
I did with Trevor Von Eden last year.
was- yeah, I
Picked
was
him
a
up at the
little
airport.
jealous.
It's kind of cool. But the nice thing about it being Cullen Bunn is, given that he produces roughly 75% of all comics that are published in a month, the rate that guy writes, there's a very good chance that you have bought at least one series. If you buy anything from Marvel, especially, he has done a lot of Marvel work. So if you've bought Marvel books anywhere in the recent past, he's probably done something that you can get signed at the con.
I've got he did Micronauts and ROM, so I've got those I can get signed.
So
IDW.
back on 246.
That's where I am too.
Okay, so I'm going to have to make a confession here. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Oh, this is Sumerian.
Is it Sumerian?
Yeah.
Okay, I never knew if it was a soft C or a hard C or if there's any weird pronunciation.
You'd think that it would be a hard C because Celtic is,
Yeah.
and Samaria, Conan is basically Irish.
Yeah.
Which you don't think of because it's Schwarzenegger, right? But like, yeah, that in the R.E. Howard stuff, the Sumerians are kind of a stand-in for the Celtic folk. But yeah, I am definitely. So this is from Ablaze, which is the same company that's doing Vampire State Building. But tell me that you don't want to read Discover the True Conan, Unrestrained, Violent,
Oh, yeah.
and Sexual.
I just think it's funny that there's like an off-brand Conan book while
Yeah.
Marvel's doing theirs.
So this is, as it sounds, the original stories have been around long enough that they're public domain, and so some of this stuff can be done in a different version. The only difference is, I guess, the estate of Howard still licenses the name Conan the Barbarian, and Marvel still has the publishing rights for that.
So as
they
long as we
can't
don't call it Conan.
It's a little bit like the Captain Marvel Shazam thing,
Right.
where they could still call him Captain Marvel in the comics, but not on the cover.
Right.
So I, as I understand it, so like if you look, it says in the description that this is Conan. I just think they can't call the title that, but that's what this is.
Right.
So I'm actually oddly psyched for it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick this up just to kind of see what they do here.
And I love that Action Comics parody
Yeah.
cover C. Also, side story for just a second. I once had a customer years ago, and he doesn't live around here, so he won't hear this and be like, "Oh, maybe made fun of me."
Oh, we're national, Matt.
But
I don't know what
this-
you're talking
this is
about.
wor-
We're worldwide.
But
Yeah, prestige.
he pronounced, and someone might tell me, no, that is how he pronounces it, but he pronounced Ed Benes as Ed Beans. And he said, so I was like, man, and it was when he was doing Justice League. And he's like, and Ed Beans is doing the art. And I laughed, like thinking that was like his nickname for it. And he goes, what? And I said, Ed Beans, that's pretty funny. And he goes, no, that's his name. And I said, no, it's not. And he was like, yeah, it is, Matt. And he tapped, he's like, Ed Beans. I was like, oh, bro, it's Benes.
I tell if I ever meet him, I'm calling him Ed
I was going to
Beans.
say, I hope somebody is like, no, I've met him, and that guy pronounces it beans. Pretty sure he doesn't. But,
You're right.
but every time I see it, I think of that customer who I really liked, but I got a big kick out of that.
So after that, we've got Vampire State Building #2, which I thought that was a one-shot. I thought that was like a graphic novel.
It was
or
a
something.
graphic novel, but they're reprinting it it was a graphic novel in French, I think, and then they're reprinting it as a comic miniseries in English.
okay.
Which is fine. I'm gonna buy them.
I just noticed several of these books have little QR codes that you can scan and get a preview, and Vampire State Building #2 is one of them.
Oh, cool, because it's 2012.
Yeah, and there's... What?
I'm sorry, with your cutting-edge QR technology.
Well, I just had this. I've not seen this
Okay.
in previews before. Have you seen them do this very much in previews?
I don't know. I would have
Okay.
looked for them.
So, I mean, it's just like you
Man.
scan and get a...
It was such a like.
Wow.
Oh, it was
Ending-
like watching. It was like watching. It's like watching the time that McGregor fought, and you could see that left hand coming from a mile away, and you were like, it was so far out. How did he not get out of the way of that? And it was just like it knocked him out cold. That Dan's snark came from so far out, and it just completely slack-jawed me. Just over here cracking up.
I don't know, man. Are you guys using
man.
QR codes on a daily basis in 2019?
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just
I teach computer security, and we talk about QR codes on it
Okay.
at least one time in a semester for a security class. There's also one for the Cimmerian. For a QR code, you can get to preview issue 1.
Dude, now
So
I kind of
there
want
you
to do
go.
that.
All you gotta do is
make
scan
it
it with
fun
your
of it aside.
phone.
I want to read a preview, and I don't care.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh, well, maybe I'm gonna do it too.
You guys go ahead. I'm gonna put in my QR code, and I'm gonna.
So
read
now we
some
all
of
know
this.
that
Yeah.
Scott's got a sponsorship from Ablaze.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the QR code right now, fellow trendsetters.
So
Go ahead.
on 252 from Acme Inc., we've got Rock and Roll Biographies Gwar. So it's not the first Gwar comic, but like if a band was ever made for a comic book, it's Gwar.
Yeah. His entire, like, Kiss,
yeah.
but worse.
Yeah.
Look at that! I've got my 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow! 11,
Is it the whole
12.
issue?
It's a 12-page preview of Cimmerian #1.
Well,
Yeah, so take that and your disrespect for the QR code.
My favorite is when I see him on billboards.
Yeah.
back to the Glore comic.
I got a QR code on my business card. Thank you very much.
I just want to point out too that this issue that they're making here is a fundraiser for a member of the band who has MS. So, Crazy Glore comic actually going towards a good cause.
What page was that on? I'm sorry. I'll get serious.
I don't know. I'd have to check the QR code. On
And as I try to get serious, he brings it back. There we go.
267 from.
I just wish this was a video podcast sometimes, so people could watch me silently laugh until my face hurts in the corner.
I'd have to dress better.
That's true.
We
won't comment about his
right.
shirt.
On 267, we've got the Jimmy Bastards hardcover collecting the series by Garth Ennis. If you like James Bond, you need to have read this book. It's just a fun knockoff kind of parody of James Bond and his lifestyle. On 268 from Albatross Funny Books, we've got the new issue of Goon number 7, which, what is 4 out, maybe?
Did you know about that? 5 is out, 4 is not.
There
was,
what?
yeah.
They're doing some Spawn numbers.
No, I was going to say, contrary to popular belief, it's not a Spawn thing. There was a mix-up at the printers.
That's a pretty bad mix-up.
They shipped the wrong issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know he was that far ahead that they could.
I know, that's what I thought too. I was like,
Yeah,
and he
for
said
real.
they're standalone issues, so you technically can read them in either order if you
yeah.
wanted to. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, I just want to point out this. They've got a Rob Jones from Mondo is doing sort of a Goon Peanuts kind of takeoff. It's kind of a neat variant cover here they're doing. And the variant covers on Goon have been pretty strong, too. They've got some really good artists doing those. And then on the next page, we've got the Goon Bunch of Old Crap Volume 2. Again, reprinting some of the classic Goon stuff. We've had people looking for this stuff, though. So, yeah, it's been out of print because it's coming to Exploding Albatross, his company. On 283 from Antarctic, we have BADASS number 1. And apparently this is about an agent of the Bureau of Alien Detection and Supernatural Sightings. If you aren't trying to get to that acronym.
How has nobody made that before?
Yeah.
It's fantastic because like that's how they named GI Joe vehicles back in the day, right?
Right.
They'd be like, "Well, this is the Hammer. What does it stand for?
Yeah.
Well, hang on, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah,
but we're definitely
exactly.
calling this thing the Hammer or whatever."
On 292 from Aspen, we've got some more of the Michael Turner DC variants they're offering again. So if you missed out on some of those, you can check that out.
And again, and again.
It's almost like he's dead, and somebody's estate is trying to make as much money out of the
Right.
existing artwork.
Well, I feel like supposedly that was the story. He did some of that knowing that was going to be the case, right?
Yeah.
So I won't begrudge it too much because of that. You know, that was his
I
intention.
know, but it's
I can understand wanting to provide.
it's always so weird to me because he has so many variants still being published.
Right, oh, yeah.
That sometimes I forget he died quite some time ago.
Right, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
And then I like second guess myself and I think, wait, am I crazy? Did he did? No, he totally died, right? And he did, but
Yeah.
they are obviously actively seeking people who got commissions from him at conventions and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff
that's
probably
to throw out additional covers and do a sketch.
and hey man, as long as people
color.
buy it,
Oh, yeah,
God bless.
yeah.
I don't begrudge his family
No,
for doing
no,
it. But
no.
It's a little odd because there's so much of it every month for a guy who's been going
and it's
for
so rare that that happens with comic books.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
You know
Like,
what I
there
mean?
isn't anybody else like that.
Yeah, this
that
isn't
they just
like music or fine art or something like
and
that.
and look, it's not like he's the only comic creator who's passed in recent years, but
Yeah.
he is the only one that just month after month. But I tell you
Maybe
though,
is he? So he's the Tupac of
it,
the comic
it does
industry.
it does make you think that like when J. Scott Campbell and Joe Mad go
Mm-hmm.
and Frank Cho, people who were cover artists,
Yeah.
oh man, how long are their families going to be able to cash?
Yeah.
Which is great. Again,
Right.
not begrudging anybody. I'm sure Jack Kirby's family wishes he'd done more unpublished covers they could sell later on. But it's an interesting thought of how much better it is to be a comic book cover artist than it is to be a comic book interiors
Right.
artist. If you can make your living as
Oh, yeah.
Frank Cho just doing Harley Quinn variants every month, you should.
Right. On 315, we've got Visions from the Upside Down, the Stranger Things art book. So I would assume there's probably some cool monster design and different things they probably did on the development of that show. And then from Devil's Due, we have How to Self-Publish Comics, Not Just Create Them, 5th edition by Josh Blaylock and Tim Seeley.
Does it involve stealing people's stuff and not paying them?
That's kind of what I was wondering.
No
Like,
offense
these
to
guys-
Tim Seeley, who is a real stand-up dude.
These are guys who, publish comics.
Josh
and
Blaylock.
It says this is required reading at the Savannah College of Art and Design with their sequential art program. So I guess it depends on what all they're saying in that book. Kind of going back to some of the Star Wars adventure stuff. On 316, we have the Star Wars Choose Your Destiny, a Finn and Poe adventure by Kevin Scott and then Elsa Chartier. But she's a really good artist, sort of like almost like a Chris Somney kind of style. Not to diminish her artwork, but just if you like that art, check hers out too. It's a really fun style. And after that, on 317, we have Marvel, Absolutely Everything You Need to Know softcover. It's a reference book, 240 pages and $10. That's all you need to know about Marvel. It's all right there in that book, so just pick that up, and you'll be set. On 318, there's sort of a back-to-school theme this month running through the catalog, and they have the Ultimate Star Wars Definitive Guide to Star Wars Universe hardcover, new edition, and that is labeled as the back-to-school. I mean, yeah, when you're going back to school, that's what you need. You know, you got to be up on your Star Wars references. 321, going into some of the Dynamic Forces stuff, they always have these signed books and sketches and stuff, and I saw, how did they get these old Hulk issues? These are the True Believers.
True Believers, yeah.
Versions. That's what it took me a second to catch on to with that. On page 326, we've got from Fantagraphics, we have the Ed Piskor Fantagraphics Studio Edition. And so this is a lot of his original artwork from Hip Hop Family Tree and X-Men Grand Design. Again, if you're a fan of his work, this might be something to check out. It is $150, so it is pretty pricey. I have heard him talk about this, though. It's listed as 140 pages. Apparently, the finished version is closer to 200. So there's more going on here than what it says, but again, still at the $150 price point.
On the next page over is Don Rosa's Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. They've done this multiple times at multiple publishers, but if you are like me and Dan and grew up in the 80s and you loved you some DuckTales, this is the next best thing to Carl Barks as far as Scrooge stuff is going.
Now, if I was going to start with Don Rosa, is this where to do it?
So what this is like a love letter to all of the little bits of history that Carl Barks sprinkled into his Uncle Scrooge issues. If you don't know who Carl Barks is, he created basically everything you know from DuckTales. Yeah. So he created Uncle Scrooge, he created the Money Bin, he created Duckburg, Magica, the Beagle Boys, the Number One Dime, Gyro, basically everything other than Gizmo Duck, which was original with the cartoon. And in his issues in the 50s and 60s, he had a lot of references to things that Uncle Scrooge did in the past, like, you know, Panning for Gold and the Klondike and things. And Don Rosa grew up a huge fan of Carl Barks' Scrooge issues, especially when Barks was sort of an unnamed artist that people called the Good Duck Artist because they didn't credit people by name.
Right.
And that is a series of one-shots that Rosa sprinkled through his own run on Uncle Scrooge. Now in the collections, they tend to put them in chronological order, but he didn't do them necessarily. He just did them as he felt like it.
Right.
Like if this is going to tell about what he did, whatever. But they're a great place to start if you want to start reading Uncle Scrooge. If you're a big fan of DuckTales, either the new version or the old version. To be honest, the new version actually hews closer to the comics in terms of the history and continuity of the characters. You wouldn't think that, but it has the new version has tons of visual gags and references to the Rosa and Barks stories both. So if you haven't read them and you like it, it is a fantastic place to start because it really treats that character the way that the comics always did, which is as sort of a badass adventurer, which is very out of place for Disney if you only know Disney's cartoons. But Disney, all the Disney characters honestly are really different in the comics. Mickey Mouse has detective stories. Donald has lots of adventure stories. It's not just funny animal slapsticky stuff. And Scrooge was a globe-trotting explorer, and they're all much more mature and much less silly than you'd think they'd be when done by the right creators. But Don Rosa is the second best Uncle Scrooge person, but he's the only one still living and is the only one I met, and he is a fantastically cranky old man who does. And he talked to me for like 30 or 40 minutes at his table at C2E2. I watched him be rude to other people, but be as good as gold to me, man. He is one of those I'm here for the real fans kind of guys. Right. And so like he has signs that say I won't sign anything DuckTales. DuckTales is not Uncle Scrooge or whatever. He has some real hard feelings towards other Disney properties. He's a very purist. But his stuff is it's so clearly, and I hate to use the phrase because it's so overdone, but it's so clearly a labor of love for that character. Mm-hmm. Like you can tell how much he loves that character in that universe, and that sense of a real history that he's trying to assemble out of him. They're just really well done. If you like Art Adams or Nick Bradshaw art that really hyper detailed, his stuff is a lot like that.
I don't have anything until 369, so...
I have nothing until 390.
On 336, from the Hero Initiative, we have the Captain America 100 project, and they've done these before with some other books over the years.
At least Amazing Spider-Man is the one that I remember. There was a Spider-Man one.
Yeah, there was an Ultimate Spider-Man. There's been a few different things.
Yeah.
This just says it's covers to Marvel Comics Captain America #1. Which one? I assume it's the most recent, but they don't really specify.
Well, it's probably all of them.
Could be. On 338 from Humanoids, we have The Twilight Man, sort of a biography of Rod Serling. I know there's a lot of fans of The Twilight Zone in this store, so somebody better pick that up. On 342, we have Batman, The Definitive History in Comics, Film, and Beyond. It's a $75 hardcover reference book coming out in October, so, in time for Christmas. So that might be something to get for a fan. 345... we have a new issue of Airboy, number 51, and it's been years since number 50. This is one of those things I always think about going back and checking out. I just never have.
It's Chuck Dixon.
Yeah, it's Chuck Dixon, and we've got a Sam Keith cover here, and I think he did some of the work back in the day. So might be a time to jump on that. On 364, we have from New England Comics, we have the Tick, the complete Edlund trade paperback. It's complete in that it's all the stuff he did, and then they have their make-believe issue 13 that Edlund never finished. I think it was called Pseudo Tick number 13 that was done by other creators later to kind of wrap up that storyline. I'm still waiting on him to come back and finish that.
Page 369, you got Rick and Morty 55. I don't know if I probably should say this or not, but I actually got to talk to Kyle Starks at Gen Con last weekend, and apparently this may have been his last issue of Rick and Morty. I think he's pretty excited to go back to some of his creator-owned stuff, and maybe he's going to do some other things later with Rick and Morty. But I think the way I understood it was this actual series is going to be ending, if it's not with this issue, with an issue really, really soon. They're going to start renumbering again at number 1.
Right.
So they're doing the Marvel thing with Rick and Morty. So just kind of an FYI for the Rick and Morty fans out there. I think he was gone on issue 16 or 17, so he's been on that book for quite a while. So go ahead.
On page 400 from Tomorrow's Press, we've got the World's Finest Bundle, and so this collects the Krypton Companion and then the Batcave Companion. I have the Batcave one. It is great. It's a lot of interviews with older creators from sort of the Silver Bronze Age of Batman, kind of starting with the new look Batman. And these guys are old and don't care about anything anymore, so you get the truth out of them and why what happened, and they don't care anymore. And so that's
Let me tell you about Archie Goodwin.
Let me tell you about Neil Adams, and then Neil Adams is in there talking too. So it's a fun read.
He's like, "What did that old drunk say about me?"
Yeah.
I want to go back to 390, not because I'm particularly drawing attention to it as a book I'm buying, but to give a shout out to an actual friend in real life who is also a customer of the store. Andy, if you are listening, which I bet you're not, but maybe you will after I tell you that I called you out on the episode. I do not know the first dang thing about Robotech, really, but my friend Andy, who's a longtime customer of the store, gave me an extended series of texts explaining to me his theory that the current Robotech book was leading towards an alternate history / reboot. And at the end of it, I said, okay, because I don't know what any of this means, but okay. And here we are, Robotech Remix. He accurately called where they were going.
Good job, Andy.
And it was so entrenched in continuity and minutia. I thought, there is not a snowball's chance in hell that they're going to do that, because what could the audience for this possibly be? It's got to be so small, right? And apparently I was wrong, because here it is. So hats off to Andy, who called
That's
that
all
one
I
right.
have for this side of the catalog.
I have just a couple more things, I think.
Page 404.
Yeah.
You go.
404, Roku #1, by Cullen Bunn, I might add. Not to besmirch Cullen Bunn, but I am a big believer. I always buy the A cover if I buy any book.
Hey.
But I
Yes,
will be
that's
damned if I buy that A cover, or at least not just that A cover. The Dave Johnson B cover is freaking cool, right? That A cover, I don't know who Victor Kovalchev
That
is.
face is awful.
It's awful.
Awful.
It is like middle school art class. It's terrible. I cannot buy it. It's so bad. I just can't understand why that is the base cover.
Then what you should do is get the Roku 1 through 4 pre-order edition bundle, which is available only to local comic shops if you order issues 1 through 4.
That is legitimately a fantastic idea, and I think that is what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I really am.
Now, why you would want a comic book about your internet movie playing device, I'm not for sure, but
I'm given to understand it means something in another language. That's all I can figure.
But still, why call your product that?
Yeah,
especially when Valiant's trying to get movies made.
And Valiant has been using that character since the relaunch in 2011 or 2012.
Roku's were out by then.
yeah.
But they weren't particularly well known.
Right.
So maybe this is one of those, well, I thought we could get away with it kind of things.
Well,
but the answer is no.
They'll probably just do that spin-off TiVo.
That'd be her arch nemesis.
Right.
The great thing is if they have gone and locked up the copyright to use that in movies, like, well, no. You can't mention Roku in that movie because that's owned by a comic book company.
Right.
The last thing on this side for me is on 466 in the t-shirt section. There are these Arkham Asylum shirts, and they're perfectly fine. There's like a baseball team t-shirt, but there is an orange hoodie that just says inmate across the back of it. And it's got, like a little print on the front, an Arkham thing. And it makes me think of, it's one of the things that makes me feel legitimately kind of old, because I had an Arkham Asylum inmates t-shirt. It looked like a scrub when I was in like 8th grade. And I remember being...
When it looked like a scrub?
Yeah. It looked looked like a nurse's scrub.
Right.
But it was like an Arkham Asylum shirt. And that seemed very fun to me then. And now I think that just seems like you're getting stopped and frisked.
No, for sure.
That seems like a terrible idea.
Page 469, you've got the Star Wars Han Solo silhouette navy blue t-shirt, which is just basically the outline of Han Solo inside the outline of the Millennium Falcon, which is, I think, kind of cool. I saw they had like a piece of art at the Disney Hollywood Studios, right, at Disney. It was more detailed than what this is. This is more silhouette-ish looking, but it's still kind of cool just to see Han inside the Falcon. Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking shirt. So you should come look at page 469. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Flipping over.
Sorry. Yeah. No. You
I think
flipping?
we've actually already talked. Yeah, we talked about that.
So
already.
on page 18, we have the Disney Select Classic Action Figures Series 1, which is 3 Black Hole figures and the Rocketeer. I want that Rocketeer figure. I hope we don't have to order a case of these to get one.
Well, I don't know. Have you
But it
seen
seems
the
like
Black Hole?
No.
It is. Well, I have extremely fond memories of this movie, and I was actually digging through comic books someplace the other day and found a Black Hole comic book in a $1 box. I said, I don't know, I'm just gonna get it because it's a Black Hole.
I would buy it too.
Yeah,
It's oddly dark.
yeah, and it's Anthony Perkins and I can't even remember who all is in it, but
I remember watching it on Disney Channel when I was a kid.
yeah. So I'll date myself. I think I saw this in the theaters. Yeah,
I don't even know when it was. When was it released?
I think it was. Well, it had to have been after Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I don't know, probably 78, 79.
So around the time I was born.
Yeah.
So that explains why I didn't see it in the theater then.
Yeah.
But I'm way looking forward more towards a Rocketeer figure.
Yeah.
Especially because we don't get that much Rocketeer stuff anymore. And when it's solicited, they cancel it. On page 50 from... we have some DC Heroes statues here. We have the Batman Dark Knight maquette.
The Dark Knight's really
from,
nice.
Yeah, from Tweeterhead, and then a DC Superpowers Shazam.
That Shazam looks exactly like the Alex Ross one.
It's definitely that pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a lot of lightning and clouds. Looks pretty cool, though. And again, if you've been getting the Tweeterhead DC stuff, which Mike's been pretty good about getting here in the store. After that, on 51, we have a couple different Harley Quinn mallets. We have an inflatable one, and then what says this one's made out of cloth.
So if you're a 14-year-old girl with daddy issues,
Exactly. And there's plenty of people around here that cosplay as Harley Quinn. Get an appropriate mallet that you can actually hit somebody with and not hurt them, hopefully.
on 61, did you see these Marvel 80th anniversary pops?
Yeah.
How freaking fantastic are Namor's eyebrows? Look at that. He has these awesome, like, cartoon angry eyebrows. And normally, Pops kind of have blank expressions for the most part. And they have these awesome, giant, angry eyebrows on
but
it.
it looks like Namor. That's how he looks.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need to do anything else for you to be like, oh, that's Namor. Look at those eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And right after that, we have the pop movie moment Batman set with Batman and Commissioner Gordon with a light up bat signal, like from the Dark Knight movies. Thought that was kind of cool. On 73, we've got some Godzilla products here, and we have the Godzilla 1962 walking pose 11-inch PVC statue. I feel like why not just do dancing Godzilla if you're going to go that far? You should have just done that. On page 96, we have the Flash Gordon Savior of the Universe 1/6 scale collector figure.
Are you going to sing it?
It's a.
Are you going to say it all? Are you going to say it, Dan? Come on.
I'm good.
Give me Freddie Mercury.
It's too late for that. So it's a nice likeness, but again, it's a $200 Flash Gordon figure. Is there a market for that now?
I felt there's a certain.
I know there's that documentary that just came out, but
is there a market for 90% of the things that are in the back of the catalog?
That's a good point.
I feel like I could tag lots of pages and say who's going to buy this,
Right.
because it's never. I never have a problem believing that someone wants these. I have a hard time believing that enough someone's want these to make it worth.
Yeah.
And sometimes things are really, really expensive, and that's why. Like, oh, this is $350 for this because we don't expect to sell a lot. But even then,
to mass produce something, On 111, we have the Batman Batwing posable desk light.
How freaking cool is
Man,
that?
if I was still using a desk on a regular basis like that, I'd probably pick that up.
Yeah. I looked at it and I thought, where do I have a need for this in my house?
Yeah.
And I racked my brain trying to think of a place I could put this. And I don't know. But I really want to have a need to buy this because it's so nice. And it's not too terribly expensive, honestly. I thought it would be worse.
Yeah, if I was still using my drawing table like that, I would get that and put that on there. And again, just play around with it mostly, like I'm flying the Batwing.
I was going to say, make vroom, vroom noises there, yeah.
After that, we have some new Toon tumblers. We have a Batman Who Laughs, and then Jock's Joker cover that they've merchandised like crazy these last few years.
Could not have been a better shirt for a t-shirt, or a picture for a t-shirt, could they?
Yeah. On 117, we have some Avengers Endgame life-size stand-ups. So if you want to have a life-size Scarlett Johansson or Chris Evans in your house, there you go. On 118, we have some Marvel 80th anniversary buttons and magnets of covers. Some of these make sense, but some of these look like really random choices with just sort of random Thor and Iron Man from the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like, what were they thinking with some of these?
Is that Hulk 2099 in that bottom row?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why that one?
Page 119, there's this pretty cool Alien Ripley minimal poster, framed prints.
That is nice.
It's just basically almost white, green, and black. It's like 3-color, and it's pretty cool looking. It has me intrigued.
On 122, we have the Star Wars Death Star waffle maker, which looks cool, but man, there's no way that's cooking your waffle evenly. On 125, we have Super Mario Brothers Donkey Kong cookie jar, so it's a barrel with the DK logo on it. I don't think I had anything in the game section.
Same.
Yeah, with cards, just there's the Topps 2019 Stranger Things upside down trading cards. So if you're getting all the Stranger Things merchandise, maybe check that out. And I think that's it for this catalog. You guys get anything else?
Bunch of blank covers. Amazing Mary Jane 1, Amazing Spider-Man Full Circle 1, Ghost Rider 1, Vengeance of Vampirella 1, Monster Planet 1, Underdog 1, Ruwan's 1, Life is Strange 9, which is an odd issue number to have a blank cover on, Unbound 1, Birds of Prey 1, Hit Girl Season 2, number 9, Batman's Grave number 1, Nomen Omen number 1, and Chrononauts number 1. So tons of blank books in the catalog, and there's probably some more in there that I missed. Which one we gonna do first? The most excited or the buy recommendation?
It's the most excited.
Okay, you guys go first because I'm not for sure yet.
I think probably the one I'm most excited for is the Superman Smashes the Klan. I just feel like that's a story I'm kind of interested in. I like the writer. I like the artist too. It's a studio. It's a couple women, and I've liked some of the other work they've done, so I'm really looking forward to that.
think I'm most excited for Basket Full of Heads.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to this Joe Hill pop-up imprint.
I think I'm gonna go with the Deceased trade because I haven't read any of the issues.
Oh, you're
and
gonna
I've
like it. It's fun.
Yeah, I've heard that it's
Yeah.
pretty good, so I think I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Buy recommendations. I do have mine on this one. I can go first on this one. So so my buy recommendations are the 3 Future Fights First number 1s: the White Fox, the Luna Snow, and Crescent and Io. Not only are you going to have those characters introduced, there'll probably be some additional characters that are introduced in cameos or whatever. So to me, it kind of feels like another Naomi chance. So I will probably be picking up a few copies each on those myself.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm just nothing really grabbed me like that. I think that is a good pick there. But yeah, I guess Roku number 1. I'd have to go with that because obviously that's going to be the next big media breakout star.
Yeah, the next trademark.
Yeah, I feel like people were
Especially
really,
because she doesn't look at all like Medusa from the Inhumans.
Yeah, and I feel like people are probably going to be put off from that cover, so it's going to be under ordered. So when
They should be put off.
When it does blow up, it'll be hard to get.
I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I think the thing that jumped out at me as the most likely to be franchised to some of their media is Marked number 1 because I think the elevator pitch for it's super easy.
All right. We're done. We done?
We're done.
It.
All right.
I'll be honest with you guys. You don't know what time it is. It's like 9 o'clock, and we've pulled books and we've done other stuff. And
We've got busy days.
I worked all day today, and I know you guys did too. Freaking tired. We've been talking about comics for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So this was going to be a short one. I'm super glad we didn't say it when we started, but we did all think this was going to be a short one.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it is not.
We were wrong.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
You're welcome.
All right,
Notice
so
we did 2/3 of the talking.
as always, you can find us all on social media and other places. So mine is at Wookie Copilot on everything. WOOKIE-COPILOT. Dan?
I'm at Detective651 on most things, not Facebook, of course.
Because Dan's a serial killer.
You can find me here at the store on most Saturdays.
When he's not out serial killing.
And I will be repping Campus Comics at the Sluky Comic Con next month.
Scott Reed, I'm at birdcomics.com, BURGcomics.com. Have my own convention coming up in Harrisburg, Illinois, August 31st.
Whoop, whoop.
And then I will also be at SlukyCon, September 29th and 30th.
All right, guys. We will see you soon. I don't know do we have another episode before the next preview?
This will be 48. And I think we're going to record a news roundup.
That's
episode.
what I thought we were going to do.
2 weeks from tonight.
We need to be doing one of those.
Is that one may have a guest on
yes,
it, right?
well, I think we'll have Michael Atchison back on that one, we hope. We're trying to make it work.
OG
host.
Mike Atch.
And again, we've got the big 50th episode coming up, so stay tuned for that.
Yep.
That's the one where it turns out that this was all a dream.
There you go.
Right.
And we find out that the real value was the friends we made along the way.
And on that note, are we done?
Yep.
I think
Okay,
so.
all right. We're shutting this down. Do you want to start over?